If you've ever basked in the glory of golf season weather, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Today is going to be the Tuesday, March 31st edition, and it is the last day of a rather unforgettable quarter in terms of market performance. What does Q2 have in store for us? Well, that starts tomorrow. We'll see, but we're going to wrap up Q1 here today. And boy, oh boy, do we have a busy show for you here today. It's, of course, a T3 Tuesday, so we're going to have a T3 guest. I got a special interview, a return interview here for you today. We're going to cram that in. We still have 13, of course, wouldn't be a show without 13. We're still going to have him again as well. We're going to do some live trading here today. Then we're also going to talk to Anne-Marie after our show and set up some options trades for you. So should be a real fun day. Tuesday, March 31st. Benzinga's pre-market playbook for that day begins right now. Okay, welcome everybody. I hope that you all had a great day yesterday, and I hope you're ready for another great one here today. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here. Oh, there we go. There's the chat. I think there we go. We got it. Solitary Soldier is first here today. Good morning, Solitary Soldier. Welcome back. Hope you're locked in for a good one. Francis, good morning. Good to see you again. Big Dave, good morning. Futures are very green this morning. Here, we're going to talk about that. Are they going to stay green? We actually started discussing this yesterday on the happy hour. Is this kind of the start of a bounce back, maybe towards the 200? We'll take a look at that when we get the SPY chart here. Great to see that we have green futures here in the morning. Will they hold? Ultimately, that's the question. We'll see how it shakes out. Yes, that girl, good morning. Welcome back. It's great to see you. Peter, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you as always, boss. Zach McCracken, welcoming or saying good morning to the Benzi gang, which I absolutely love. Great to have you back here, Zach. Hopefully your day is going well. The producer's locked in and ready to go. He makes the show go on, and for that, we appreciate it a lot. Astro Kev, good morning. Good morning. Great to have you here. Good to see you again. Cad Monkey, good morning. Welcome back. Dara, good morning. Welcome back. Marty, good morning. Welcome back. Marty says, I'm already hearing the music in my head before it starts. That's a good sign. Just remember, I see you even when we're not on. I see you while you're sleeping. That's really creepy, but it is what it is, Marty. Good to have you back here. Good morning. Best Life, good morning. Good to see you again. Hopefully all is going well with you. Corey, good morning. Welcome back. Ethan, good morning. Welcome back. Fake Beat AI, good morning. Welcome back. Lost Penny, good morning. Welcome back. Futures, I trade the futures a lot. I swing trade stock very short term. I'm holding a long-term portfolio, dividends such waste management, railroad, and so on. Sounds like you have a diversified portfolio. You're doing some short-term trades, maybe some intermediate trades with the swing trades, plus you have a long-term portfolio. Tim Melvin would be proud. That's exactly what we're going for here. Jay Wild, good morning. Welcome back. It's great to see you. Graph, good morning. Welcome back. And as Lost Penny is saying, definitely hit the like button. The smash mouth part is optional. I think everyone's heard Walking on the Sun a million times. Nonetheless, good morning, Lost Penny. Please hit that like button. Please help support our show and our mission of what we're trying to do here. The Noob, good morning. Welcome back. Nice to see you again. Whisk, good morning. Welcome back. The stream after the pre-market show was awesome yesterday, by the way. I'm not sure what stream you're referring to, Zach, but I'm sure the producer does. Good feedback. We appreciate it, and that's awesome. I like having awesome things, so that will work. And I don't think you're saying that the stream itself was bad, right? Please confirm that for me. Marinette, good morning. Welcome back. Bernhard, good morning. Welcome back. Cam, good morning. Welcome back. It's great to see you, of course. Gene, good morning, everyone, and good luck. And indeed, I reiterate that to everybody. JJ, good morning. Durkus, good morning. Rouse Stage 3, good morning. Welcome back. Eric, good to see you as well. I love that the y'all is proliferating a little bit. Say it with some soul. That works. Good morning. Kanjalia, good morning. Good to see you again. Linda, good morning as always. Welcome back. Tyler, good morning. Welcome back. CH57, as in the letter C, the letter H, and 57, right? Did I get it right? Great show. Well, great morning to you. Thank you for the kind words. Welcome back. Hopefully you enjoy yourself again here today. Yassine, good morning. Big Bees, good morning. Vader was framed. This is definitely one of my favorite YouTube handles of all time. Welcome back, Vader is framed, or Vader was framed. The job, it was impressive, most impressive. Welcome back. Good to see you again. Wild storms last night. Indeed, Yassine, I actually sat on my couch watching the lightning roll in. Then when I moved to the bedroom, I opened up the blinds and I just kind of laid there and watched the storms off in the distance start and then roll in, and I was peacefully asleep. Oh, man, I'll tell you what, that is quality of life upgrade right there. Hopefully no damage to anybody from those storms. Suprik, good morning. Welcome back. It's great to see you. Bavesh Dubai Trader, good morning. Welcome back. Good to see you again. Robot to Trade, good morning. Welcome back. Perp for Lifeski, good morning. Welcome back. Reginald, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you again. Hoping the dip buy matures this morning. You know what's funny about that, Reggie? We saw like right at the end of the day yesterday, the SPY like traded up a little bit into the close. And my thought was, this might be a little bit of a bull trap. Seeing the futures higher here today, there's some more headlines that the war might be close to the end again. The big thing here for me is we'll see if it holds, right? The dip buying has really kind of slowed down a little bit. Will this hold? Will it actually bounce back to a moving average and then roll over again, giving us a good short entry? We'll have to wait and see. But the dip buyers started at the very end of the day yesterday. We'll see how strong they are here today. G-Cord, good morning. Welcome back. Wiss says, Ryan, did you see Pizza Hut is bringing back the hot dog stuffed crust pizza? I did not see that. I'll be honest, I'm at a point in my life now where I probably won't eat Pizza Hut a lot, so I probably won't try that unless it's just like a matter of circumstance. I'd love to hear what you think about it. I did, however, in hot dog related news, I did hear that yesterday Costco is creating a bourbon that is celebrating the hot dog deal. And I guess the name of the bourbon is You Got That Dog in Ya. Now, I haven't seen this myself. I saw something that was sent to me on Instagram. I guess I'm only 95% sure that it's legit, but you can bet your bottom dollar when I go to Costco, I'll be looking for that special bourbon as the homage to the $1.50 hot dog. Did not think I'd be discussing hot dog news here today, but it is what it is. It's Tuesday. It's the last day of the first quarter, so we'll see. Really, buenos dias. Good morning. It's great to see you. Welcome. Charles Godwin, good morning. Welcome back. It's great to see you. Suprik, good morning. JD, good morning. Brandy, good morning. JD, reminding everyone, please hit that like. It's a free way to support us. We really, really appreciate it. It's very, very helpful, and it takes No time at all. Catherine, good morning. Welcome back. Jay Wild, good morning. It's good to see you as always. I did see that about Costco. Haha, that's awesome. Okay, so then it sounds like it's not BS, or maybe it's BS that's reached critical mass and just got to a bunch of us. You guys can expect a full review. If I ever get my hands on some of that, I'll try it one evening and I'll give you a full review on it. I got to think it's probably pretty awesome. Parvez, good morning. Good to see you. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right, we've got green arrows ahead of Tuesday's open for the last day of the first quarter of 2026. S&P futures up 1.23%, Dow futures up 1.24%, and the NASDAQ futures higher by 1.19%. Now let's take a look at some cues from last session here. Utilities, consumer staples, and financial services led the S&P 500 higher on Monday, though industrials and tech stocks lagged to leave U.S. markets mixed, and the NASDAQ shed 150 points. Let's go back up to the top of the article here. In the latest on the U.S.-Iran war, President Trump hinted at ending the U.S. military campaign against Iran, even if the Strait of Hormuz remains largely closed. And that was reported by the Wall Street Journal, not just a Truth Post. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi called on Saudi Arabia to eject U.S. troops from the kingdom following an Iranian strike on a major American base. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced the joint U.S.-Israel mission in Iran has crossed a significant threshold. The 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.32%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.82%. The CME Group's Fed Watch Tool projections show the markets are pricing in a 97.4% likelihood of the Federal Reserve leaving the current interest rates unchanged in its April meeting. Now, we do have several stocks in focus here for you today, and we're actually going to be covering, I'm going to mention a couple of other biotechs that got bought out. So could be, if you held some of these stocks, it could be a major morning for you. Let's go down some of the stocks in focus here today. The first one is going to be Allbirds, and the ticker is BIRD, and it surged 19.4% in the pre-market on Tuesday after it announced that it had entered into a definitive agreement with American Exchange Group to sell all of its intellectual property and certain assets. The next stock on our list is Virgin Galactic Holdings, and the ticker on this one is SPCE. It jumped 6.45% after reporting mixed financial results for the fourth quarter after the market closed on Monday. The next stock on our list is actually going to be Nebius Group. That's ticker NBIS, and it was 2.12% higher after it announced that it will be constructing a 310 megawatt AI factory in Finland. Next stock on our list is Rocket Lab. That's ticker RKLB, and it was up 2.33% after receiving German regulatory approval for the Mynaric acquisition. The final stock on our list here today is going to be Nike, which reports earnings today. Ticker is NKE. It was up 1.19% as analysts expect it to post quarterly earnings of 28 cents per share on revenue of $11.24 billion after the closing bell. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the SPY chart here. I need my indicator. There we go. There we go. All right, we don't so much need the indicators as much as we need the drawings that I've put on here, although we'll see. Okay, as we continue to pull back, and here's really like my game plan, if you will. I definitely want to see if there's some confirmation of this, but this is kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen here. First of all, we've talked a lot about the 10% pullback level from the all-time highs being about 628. Turns out it's 628.06 from the actual all-time high. And we did not quite touch that. 628.06, I think our low was 629.24 or something like that. We were very, very close. We were basically within a point here. But we did not actually print that level. And so A 10% pullback, this is a pretty garden variety correction. This isn't even really a big deal. And so my thoughts here is, well, it's felt kind of painful, especially recently. The broader market has rolled over. The SPY has kicked away its 200-day. So have the Qs. And now we're left kind of waiting for a bottom. Remember, the market participants have been conditioned to buy the dip. So we're starting to see some of that dip buying. Now, we saw some of it at the end of the close yesterday. Overnight, we have some more comments about the conflict potentially ending pretty soon. And the $64,000 question is this enough? Fake Beat AI here in the chat really hitting on it. Not enough. And so this is a totally reasonable opinion, if you ask me. I kind of think the same thing. So I would not be surprised if we get both. Walk with me on this. Let's say we get buy the dippers to step in here, even over the next couple of days. Maybe everyone's feeling good about Good Friday holiday or the day off, and then the Easter holiday over the weekend and all of that. Perhaps we actually end up bouncing. We're also expecting inflows tomorrow, as it being the first of the month and also the first of the second quarter. We're definitely expecting some buying action. This may buoy several stocks and, by proxy, some of the ETFs and indices. And so let's see if we end up bouncing back here. Now, if we do bounce back here, I'm going to actually extend this trend line out a little bit because that might provide some resistance. But better still, if we bounce all the way back up to the 200-day and we do not have the strength to clear that, I actually think for a short-term trade, it would be quite reasonable to open up a new short there. Call it a hedge, if you will, just to keep your risk in check. Not saying that the market's necessarily going to completely fall apart or anything, but I wouldn't be surprised if we have this little bit of a regressive bounce after the selling that we've seen, only to then test a resistance area and roll back over. Maybe then we actually finally print the 10% pullback level, or maybe we overshoot a little bit, maybe 14 or 15%. Let me just ask you, let me put you on the spot, Fake Beat AI. If we bounce from this 10% level, can't clear the 200, roll back over, and then trade down to like minus 14% from the all-time highs, is that enough? Do you think that is enough? So I'm trying to think ahead here on possible positions. I'm trying to think, where can there be money to be made for both the intermediate term but also the long term there. And again, I think if we got the big thing that I wanted, I said this last week when we had Anne Marie on especially, but the big thing that I'd be looking for here is a capitulatory move down. And we'll see if we end up getting that. We'll see if we get a bounce. I just want to put that on your radar. I know several of you folks were saying yesterday, we're not out of the woods yet. And I agree with that. The big thing with this conflict, I'm still in the camp that it's really not going to last that long. We'll see if that ends up shaking out here. But the reality is with troops kind of being positioned or prepped, there might absolutely be another leg down if ground forces from the U.S. end up happening here, whether it's to take over Carg Island or otherwise. So I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I am looking at multiple options here for the SPY. Okay, sorry about the extended breakdown there. Let's go ahead and take a look at some insights from analysts here. LPL Financial maintains a constructive long-term outlook for the U.S. stock market, primarily driven by the resilience of corporate America and a robust earnings backdrop. Despite a, quote, heightened risk of some additional near-term downside, end quote, due to the ongoing Iran conflict and volatile oil prices, analysts expect 2026 to be a, quote, good year for stocks on the back of solid economic growth. And actually, I know we've got a really, really crammed day here. I got a great tweet to show you that kind of emphasizes where LPL is coming from here. LPL goes on to forecast a sixth consecutive quarter of double-digit earnings growth for the S&P 500, projecting a mid-teens increase for the first quarter. Key economic drivers include massive artificial intelligence investment and fiscal stimulus from the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. While technical indicators suggest market internals have weakened, with the S&P 500 trading below its 200-day moving average, LPL views the current pullback as a potential discounted price for future earnings. Okay, there's our first little Hint there. Although management guidance may turn cautious due to disruptions in commodity supply chains, the fundamental outlook remains bright. LPL concludes that, quote, once a path to ending the conflict becomes clear, and that's an important because it needs to be clear, stocks should get a nice jolt to the upside, end quote. So we'll see if we end up getting that here. Again, not that you guys care about my own personal view, I do think that it is that the conflict, or at least the U.S. involvement in the conflict, is not going to be prolonged. Fingers crossed. But I think there are some other levers here that are going on. I mean, Trump saying this morning, Europe, if you want this oil, come get it. We did most of the work in this conflict. So really, a lot of this is going to come down to the Strait of Hormuz. When that actually is open, and when there's actually ships that are not flying a Pakistani flag that are able to make it through, perhaps then we might see some real constructive trading back here in the market. I also expect the market to kind of sniff that out a little bit. And be a little bit early on that. And we'll see if the market ends up getting that right. I don't know that that's where we're at today, just to be clear, but I wouldn't be terribly surprised if that ends up happening. Okay, yesterday, we talked a little bit about, well, actually, credit to Jay Rice, because we didn't have this in our rundown, but Jay ended up getting it for us. This is also, by the way, why, in addition to hitting the like for me, 13, the guests, Anne-Marie, the producer, all of that stuff, also understand that you folks are also hitting the like and supporting a stream that empowers the chat. I don't care if it's Big Hurt, who's trading before the sun comes up. I don't care if it's Billy, the human chat scanner that's throwing out setups. I don't care if it's Kathy, who seems to make a fortune off any biotech name that moves. I don't care if it's Jay Rice giving us his 40 plus years of experience, or Lion giving his long time experience. You guys are all empowered to make this better and lift the tide for everybody. And pressing that like kind of helps the algorithm draw in more people that think the same way that you folks do. So when you smash up that like, just understand you're smashing it not only for yourself and us, but for the others in the chat that really kind of help us here. Jay Rice, big mention of Palo Alto's insider buy yesterday. Now I've got a follow-up story on this with Nikesh Arora, the CEO of Palo Alto. Artificial intelligence companies, including OpenAI and Anthropic, could, within 6 months, roll out advanced models capable of finding software vulnerabilities at scale, sharply lowering the barrier for sophisticated cyber attacks. That came from CEO Nikesh Arora, and that was one of his warnings. Now, the one thing I will say here, just playing devil's advocate, one of the things we've said about cybersecurity is that they always seem to be ahead, right? And you could have this really great patch and this really great product, and then all of a sudden, one day, some group of hackers figures out an exploit, and your patch or your product is now worthless or demonstrably worth less because it's exploitable. So this is always a cat and mouse game, and that has impacts on some of these stocks. So let's not lose that. But right now, we're talking about AI here can really kind of help lower that barrier and perhaps make that more common. Again, don't want to scare everybody, but just something to consider here. In a blog post published on Monday, Aurora said these AI models would be easily accessible to anyone possessing a credit card and a computer, thereby enabling even a single malicious actor to carry out campaigns that previously required entire teams. The cybersecurity firm's top boss said that companies' heavy reliance on multiple vendors and aging open source dependencies create a large attack surface, with new AI models increasingly adept at uncovering overlooked vulnerabilities, something that these companies have been afraid of for a long time. AI-powered attacks could go from a breach of data theft in just 25 minutes, while most firms take days to detect intrusions, stressing that no company, including AI data centers, is immune. That's the key takeaway. However, Aurora also sees potential for these models to be part of the defense. Quote, "The strategy is clear. We must fight AI with AI," end quote. He emphasized the need for AI labs to release these capabilities responsibly and for defenders to swiftly leverage these capabilities. Quote, "The stakes are high." He goes on to say, "The window to act is open, and we need to act swiftly with intent together," end quote. Aurora's comments follow a recent downturn in cybersecurity stocks after an inadvertent data exposure by AI startup Anthropic on Friday. The data leak has revealed details about an unreleased model called Claude Mythos, which was described as a step change in capabilities. Despite the sector's rebound on Monday, stocks such as SentinelOne, ticker S, were down over 11% in the past week, while CrowdStrike declined 7.23%. Palo Alto fell 4.76% during the same period. However, it rose nearly 5% on Monday as SEC filings indicated that Aurora made his first share repurchase since 2019. The purchase totaled 68,085 shares and was worth nearly $10 million. Over the past year, Palo Alto has accelerated investments in cybersecurity and AI, highlighted by the acquisition of Israeli cybersecurity firm CyberArk and the $3.3 billion purchase of Chronosphere, alongside new automation tools. So I say all of this to ask the group here, who likes cybersecurity stocks? Do you like them more after some of their recent pullbacks? Does AI maybe make this story more appealing? You'll have to let me know here. The man saying, or actually theme, excuse me, you don't need AI to find security exploits. Software has been finding these problems for years. So I guess my only question is, would AI maybe help finding these problems faster, or perhaps before they become bigger problems? You're absolutely right on what you're saying. The reason these cybersecurity firms have businesses is because they've been doing exactly that. So maybe you're onto something that they don't necessarily need AI. You know what would be the ultimate ironic thing is if humans were able to kind of discern or figure out some of these cyber attacks better than the AI. Not saying that's going to happen, but that certainly would be interesting. All right. Next story here. This is going to be on Rocket Lab. Remember, we do have Artemis 2 launch tomorrow. We shared a little bit about that yesterday, so really excited to see that going. Rocket Lab nears minority takeover after Germany clears the strategic deal here. Rocket Lab Corporation, which is ticker RKLB, shares were up this morning during the pre-market session. The company said on Monday it secured regulatory approval from Germany's Federal Ministry of Economic Affairs and Energy to acquire Mynaric, a laser communications technology provider, with the deal expected to close in April. CEO Sir Peter Beck called the approval a key milestone, highlighting laser communications as critical for next-generation satellite constellations. The acquisition is expected to strengthen Rocket Lab's capabilities across launch services, spacecraft manufacturing, and satellite components. Mynaric will remain headquartered in Munich, giving Rocket Lab its first European footprint. The companies also collaborate on Space Development Agency contracts, where Mynaric supplies optical terminals. Rocket Lab plans to scale production, improve efficiency, and address supply constraints in laser communications for commercial and government customers. Now, just looking at some of the technicals here, Rocket Lab is trading 15.8% below its 20-day SMA and 13.1% below its 100-day SMA, showing that the stock is still working through a medium-term pullback even as it stabilizes near long-term trend support. The combination of RSI in the 30 to 50 range and a bearish MACD actually suggests some mixed momentum. So we'll see if momentum can change for Rocket Lab after the Artemis 2 launch that we see tomorrow, hopefully, weather dependent, of course. We'll see how that all shakes out here. Key resistance for Rocket Lab, 67.50. Some key support there, 57.50. So a nice $10 range in there. Its last earnings report, they lost 8 cents. That was actually better than the previous quarter's loss of 12 cents. So it looks like they're moving in the right direction. And their revenue estimate of $191.01 million was up from $122.57 million the previous quarter. As far as analysts, Clear Street has a buy, $88 price target. Cantor is overweight with an $85 price target. And Needham has a buy with a $95 price target. Okay, next story here has to do with Block. This is ticker XYZ, which is unfortunate because sometimes I when I talk about random examples, I use XYZ as kind of a general placeholder, but this is about the actual stock XYZ. We've got some news here. Be curious to see what the Bitcoin fans hope for this. Good morning, Rohan. What an awesome, if that's the Rohan I think it is, that's really awesome. But Rohan, awesome name nonetheless. Block, ticker XYZ, actually the ticker XYZ. Shares are trading higher in the pre-market on Tuesday after its Square point-of-sale system rolled out to automatic Bitcoin payments for eligible merchants in the U.S. Okay, so you can use that software to actually pay with Bitcoin. Is that actually happening? Looks like it. Square said in an X post that the new feature will allow sellers to accept Bitcoin payments that convert, quote, instantly, end quote, to cash at the checkout without any additional setup. Square added that there would be no processing fees for these transactions until 2026. I got news for you, folks. Look at the calendar. Note that this feature is available to all U.S.-based merchants except those based in New York. Wonder what that's about. Launched in November, Square Bitcoin payments also include a conversion feature that lets merchants set up to 50% of their card sales into Bitcoin. Converted Bitcoin is securely custodied in a Square wallet, empowering merchants to buy, sell, hold, or withdraw their Bitcoin holdings effortlessly. As of this writing, Square card payments and Cash App Pay transactions are eligible for Bitcoin conversions. So it's pretty interesting. And I think the cool thing here is that they're going to let the company decide what they're going to do. So, I mean, this actually might make for a new role, right? Maybe someone sharp with Bitcoin and crypto in the accounting department that says, hey, you know, our accounts receivable, 50 or 60% of it is in Bitcoin. Looking at the forecast here for Bitcoin, maybe we should leave it there for a little bit and see if we can't get more gains on that. It's interesting. I definitely want to see how this all shakes out. I certainly don't know what's going to happen here, but I got to say, at least on the surface, this absolutely seems positive. I mean, absolutely seems positive. Especially just, you know, for the Bitcoin thesis. I wish Jamie Dimon were here to tell us all the ways in which it sucks, but we'll have to get his opinion when he comes back here. All right. One of the other things that we have been talking about, good morning, Brian, it's great to see you. One of the other things that we have been talking about here is NVIDIA. We've talked about this being sideways. One of the things the happy hour crew discussed yesterday was that, man, if Bitcoin, got Bitcoin on the brain. If NVIDIA really starts to weaken and sell off, that actually might create a cascade effect of some downside moves here. Again, not sure if that's going to happen, but some folks look like maybe it's attractive. Maybe NVIDIA's attractive for a buy here, question mark. Definitely want to get the opinion of the group here. Following a 5-week market sell-off that pushed major averages into correction territory, Gibbons Capital Management CIO Mark Gibbons says the pullback has created a prime buying opportunity for long-term investors eyeing the tech sector. Despite recent geopolitical headwinds and inflation concerns weighing heavily on the broader markets, Gibbons remains decidedly bullish on technology. Pointing to the roughly 10% drop across major industries, he noted that fundamentally strong companies are now trading at attractive multiples. Quote, if you're a long-term investor, I think it's a great time to get in, end quote. Now, Gibbons said this in a Schwab Network interview. He went on to say, you're getting these great companies at great prices. And just pausing right there, that's definitely, you know, why we're doing this, right? That's why we root for sell-offs. Maybe some of you root for sell-offs because you hate the United States. I'm not even going to touch that. But the rest of us here, we really want to long-term own really quality companies at the best possible price. And so I'm unsurprised to see that there are people starting to look for this. And I think the more we see this, the better off we are. The only question is going to be, do the buy the dippers end up holding it here? We'll see. We shall see. Among his top broad tech picks are industry giants like NVIDIA, ticker NVDA, and Alphabet, ticker GOOG and GOOGL. Gibbons highlighted the significant shift in NVIDIA's valuation, noting that the chipmaker is trading at a much more palatable 20 times forward earnings, a steep drop from the 40 times multiple seen in just the recent past. According to Benzinga Pro, the stock was trading at a forward price to earnings of 20.284 times as compared to its industry average of 30.03 times. He dismissed concerns about a broader slowdown in the artificial intelligence or AI trade, emphasizing the ongoing hardware infrastructure boom. Quote, "We can't get enough compute power out there." He goes on to say, "The demand is just insatiable," end quote. Perhaps he's learning a little bit from Jensen about how to pump his industry up. Beyond hardware, Gibbons pointed to Palantir, ticker PLTR, as a standout in the software space. While acknowledging the stock's recent pullback alongside other software names, he argued that Palantir's enterprise and government businesses are uniquely positioned to survive what he calls the, quote, AI scare, end quote. The fear that AI will eat all software. We also kind of dubbed that the SaaS-pocalypse, didn't we? We'll see if that ends up shaking out here. I am a bit skeptical. What can I say? Bit skeptical. Unlike some enterprise software peers like Salesforce, ticker CRM, or Adobe, ticker ADBE, which Gibbons views as slightly more at risk of being disrupted by AI, Palantir is actively integrating with large language models. He noted that the company is, quote, working with the LLMs and working with AI as opposed to possibly being overtaken by it, end quote. Yeah, if you can't beat them, join them. That makes a lot of sense in a lot of different ways. AI certainly seems to be no different. While monitoring high-frequency economic data, Gibbons remains largely unconcerned about the labor market. Instead, his focus stays fixed on geopolitical tensions and inflation. Assuming these broader macro issues resolve over the next 6 to 9 months, and there's the key, folks, 6 to 9 months, I personally, don't shoot the messenger, I personally think it's going to be resolved a little bit sooner than that. But Gibbons here saying 6 to 9 months, he maintains that tech and financials remain his favorite sectors to deploy capital. So do we end up getting that? We shall see. Does this represent a buying opportunity? And then the follow-up question to the group, what is your favorite buying opportunity? And you know what? We've got a special guest, and I'm going to ask him the exact same question. Let's go ahead and bring on our good friend, Adam Mesh. Adam, good morning. How you doing, boss?
Ryan, how you been? Good to see you.
Dude, I've been really good, and you caught me on an amazing day here because we've got a shortened week with the Easter holiday coming up, and where I live, golf season is making its return, and I spent the past 2 days at the driving range getting the swings in, so I am as happy as it gets right now. Doing really good.
I am too, except I forgot the swing I ended last summer with. I'm trying to remember it, so.
Oh, okay. Well, let me know. I actually, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of caught off guard. I forgot what that is as well. Oh, you mean the golf swing?
Yeah.
Of course. Well, see, that's the thing about the winter, right? If you go to golf sims, you don't have to start over every year in March. And that's kind of the point that I'm at right now. So good luck and Godspeed in finding that swing. Look, just getting to the market here, we've had a wild start to 2026. It appears as if it continues to get more wild. Now we're finally looking at a pullback here. So I'm just going to start with that. What are some of the things that you're looking at right now to trade?
So swing trading and trying to buy in this market has been really tough because you've lost if you've tried to do it. So premium collection's been the thing that's working. So that's what I continue to do. So the most recent trade I made in my service was I put on a calendar spread in TLT, looking for it to go down, thinking that bond prices would go up. Right now it's kind of flat. I bought the 87, sold the 85 puts for April 17th. So that was like a very conservative trade. And it was really more to see if we're right. You know what I mean? Like if we're wrong, we're going to lose a couple hundred. I think it was like risking like 250 to make 400. It was a very small, let's just see if we're right about bonds over the next 3 weeks. And
feels like you're testing the water a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And just trying to stay in rhythm with the market. So that was like an idea we had. I was looking, and one sector that really caught my eye that's been beat up is the brokerages like Hood, Webull. Did you see that stock?
Oh man, I am so glad that you're bringing let's start with that. We can get to Hood because that's a really popular one, but please, for heaven's sake, can we please start with Webull? Because first of all, the stock's literally named Bull and it keeps going into the ground, which is like, what on earth is going on here? We have a bunch of traders that actually use the platform itself. We've got a lot of people that hold the stock, want to trade the stock. What on earth is going on with this? What is the play?
Well, that's interesting. So there are a lot of people in the US using it, because I thought it was like a Chinese brokerage. What's the deal with it? Like, my conversation around bulls started around this week. So I sold some puts just to put on feelers. But is it a US brokerage? I don't even know.
Okay, we're going to help you here, Adam. This is what we're going to do. It is a U.S. brokerage. Webull is a direct investment platform built upon next-generation global infrastructure services. It is United States. There was something else in here. The company distinguishes itself from other investment service providers by offering a mobile-first user experience and a broad range of investment products, extensive functionality constructed to help its customers build wealth over time. So the big draw here, definitely US, big draw here is mobile is first. We do have several folks in our chat that use it, including 13, my co-host, who uses it. So let's help Adam out here. If you have feedback, firsthand feedback on Bull, throw it in the chat. We'll go ahead and collate that here. But there you go, Adam.
Yeah. So, but I'll tell you this. I can tell you another story of like a finance stock that was sitting at $4 and you were like, how did it get here?
SoFi.
Yes. And yes. And it came all the way back into the 20s. And I was like, wow, it really shouldn't have been at 4. So this is a stock that came down from 79. And, this is the thing. Like we were talking about this yesterday. In 2009, after the market crash, there were a lot of stocks that if you wanted to get in, it wasn't that scary because the floor was 0 and they were trading at 10, 15, 20. Right? Now, when the market's gone down a lot, some of these stocks are still really expensive, just in terms of price versus the floor, like Tesla, Meta. These are multi-$100 stocks. So it's like, could it drop 50 points? Sure. But a stock like Webull, it's at 460. The floor is 0. It's not that scary to get in as long as you were good about your size. This came from 79. It hit a 52-week low yesterday. Right now, what I did just to get started, I literally just sold the 450 puts for April 17th. I sold them for 21 cents. Just to see just to watch a small position. And immediately the bid went to 1 cent and the ask went to 37 cents, which meant there's not a lot of options activity. But Robinhood came down a lot. eToro came down. So that's a sector that is interesting to watch because I don't think there's anything bad going on there. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, if the market's going down, shouldn't there be more activity? Doesn't that tend to eventually get more people involved when they think there's buying opportunities? So that's interesting.
And I wonder if the crypto pullback also kind of plays a role with that too. I would imagine as crypto continues to pull back, there's more risk off and perhaps less trading volume on some of these. Real quick, Adam, sorry to get in here. Get all of Adam's top option strategies in one simple training and learn how he finds trades looking to print money every week. QR code is on the screen. I'll have the producer drop the link there in the chat. A couple more pieces of feedback here. I use the Bull app for futures. The UI is unmatched, but the fills are horrible, and they occasionally experience issues. I like the Webull app. The app is the reason I use it amongst other brokers. 4 a.m. trading was also another reason that I got it. Reggie says he uses SoFi and Webull. So there you go, your connection right there. Durka says, I love the Webull platform. David says, Webull is owned by Xiaomi. First, Webull is owned by Chinese entities and maintains deep ties to China despite its restructuring. So
that's the one I heard. The China always gets me a little nervous, but hopefully they manipulate it for the good in this case. Let's just roll through a couple other sectors because you and I have fun together. So I remember last year when we were talking, and it was all positive plays. We were talking about quantum plays. We were talking about nuclear plays. Everything was hot. Now there's a lot of stories that are, private credit is in trouble. Software stocks are in trouble. a lot of negative leading stories. Oil obviously is strong, but there is the fiber optic AI plays. A stock like AAOI. This stock. So I was in this at 25, and I had it in one of the accounts I don't look at a lot, and I looked, and it was 125, and I was like, well, and I hadn't been watching it. I'll just be honest. I was like, oh my God. And so I started selling calls against it. And I literally, one more call that I sell because no, I already own it at a zero cost basis now. Because I was in it at 25, at 125, I sold a 125 call for $18. And then I rolled it down to a 110 for $28. I think I bought that for 10. So I already collected $38 in premium on a stock I own for $25. So that's fun. But and then
so that's fun. Oh, let's go.
So then, on the spinoff, another one that was like, it had some good news, traded up, then came off. And this kind of reminds me of like a CoreWeave. Remember we were talking about CoreWeave last year?
Yeah.
When it was at 7. And then that we knew it was going to go higher. So the one I'm watching now is Poet. It's really gotten beaten up. It's in that sector. It was trading below 5 yesterday, and it makes 50 cents, 80 cents moves for a $5 stock. So it's interesting. So I'm starting to watch that stock as an interesting play too.
Okay. Is it just kind of feel here? I mean, I've got the 200-day moving average at about 4.5 there. That may be a support level. Actually, it kind of looks like it's at a support down here at 450 to 5. Anything on the chart that you're seeing, or is it just kind of a gut feeling?
So when I start to watch stocks, I just kind of like to see how they're trading, see what levels are formed. This one's just been getting beaten up, so I'm going to watch what happened at 5. Maybe my first entry will be to sell a put, but the thinking is Light is another stock in that sector. So Light's been really good. AAOI has been really good. And whenever you get those names that really kind of go really high up, if they could stay up, then eventually they start to pull up the other ones just on the mere thought that they could take them out without even flinching. That's what happened in with CoreWeave and stuff like that, right? So Core Z, remember Core Z? CoreWeave got big enough that they're like, we're just going to buy Core Z, and then that brought Core Z up. And
that by the way was 6 to 20s.
Core Z is the one I said CoreWeave. Core Z was the one I was talking about, and it gets, as long as CoreWeave was able to hold up long enough, it starts pulling all the smaller stocks up with them, just even for like takeover ideas. Because if you have a stock that like AAOI that was a $25 stock, and now it's trading around 100, right? They could start taking out some of their competitors and then just grow like that because their shares are worth so much now.
Another one in that same sector, CIEN, Sienna. This has a very similar chart to AAOI and LITE as well.
So, yeah. So Poet, yeah, I made a list of a bunch of them. I just added Sienna to it too. AFCO is on there.
AFCO, did you say? AF?
AV, well, Broadcom.
Avago. Sorry,
Yeah,
Broadcom.
yeah,
Got it.
SMTC, ZenaTech, I added to the list. But I got to be better about some of my lists, because sometimes if I'm like trading a sector in the list and I have a couple more stocks I want to watch, I just throw them into that watch list just because it's on my left. And then I forget that those aren't in the sector. So I just looked and I saw some stocks that aren't even in that sector that I knew I was just watching in there. I got to clean up my list.
I've done that too. Some of my notepads that I have throughout the course of the trading day make no sense at all if you're reading them at a later date. So I totally get it.
But yeah, no, the market was down 5 weeks in a row. And that means that opportunities present themselves. Yesterday, it seemed like there was like a battle going on between positive and negative. Like it kept looking like we could make a big move either way. We had we ticked up at the end of the day and then saw some follow through on the tweets last night.
And I talked about that a little bit at the open here. What I want to reiterate, though, is that the move this morning in the pre-market, we've basically traded up to the same area that we could not break yesterday. So to your point there about us kind of not really picking a direction, looking like we want to go either way. We did trade off or sell off, most of the day. We had that little tick up right at the close that you mentioned. Now we're a little bit higher here today, but still not above 640, 641 seems to be what's stopping us here.
It really is interesting, though, how much common sense doesn't prevail in the market. And I just want to remind everybody, because if you're looking at things big picture, you're thinking, okay, if oil keeps going up, that's going to be bad for the market, right? Almost like and that's what it has been up until last night. And last night we saw the market rally and oil spike, which doesn't make sense. And imagine you put that hedge on where you're like, oh, I'm going to be short the market and short oil, whatever it was. But if you tried to pair it, I guess
short the market, long oil, or vice versa.
Right. If you were short, I guess it would have worked out then, because you would have broke even. But I just think it's weird because I thought oil would have to go down for the market to go up.
Yeah, our group's been watching oil. That's basically been the only chart you need, right? Like if oil is trading up, the broader market is generally hurting. We got that kind of decoupled a little bit last night.
Well, USO was trading, like I was watching USO, it had closed at 129. It was trading at 132 after hours while the market was rallying. Now it's back down actually a little bit negative. Yep. So oil will be interesting today. We're getting a lot of market messages and we're still in that range where one energy field gets blown up. Like all of a sudden they start to go after energy. There's still a lot of things where one thing happens, the market could really move. One tweet, do you have Truth Social? I feel like if you're an active trader, you have to have Truth Social up and get alerts when Trump sends a message because it's worth a lot of money if you see it right away.
So pro tip, first of all, I do not have Truth Social. Pro tip, our news desk team here at Benzinga has been aggregating the really important Truth Social posts, both in the printed newsfeed and also our squawkers read them in real time when they come out. Because you're exactly right. They cause market moves that equal money. So if you don't want to get Truth Social, you can just get Benzinga Pro and all of the other great stuff that goes with it. Sorry for the plug there, Adam. I had to.
There you go. Speaking of plugs, by the way, my Michigan Wolverines are going to the Final Four.
Also, by the way, I have Michigan in my bracket, and I'm currently in first. So bring home the championship or don't come home, because that also means that I'm going to win my bracket.
And then, although, if you want to feel bad for me, so it's spring break where we are. And so my wife had booked a trip overseas, so we're going to be away for the Final Four. And I realized this as the tournament was going on, and I'm like, oh my God, because I've been to Final Fours and it's unbelievable. And I literally got a message from one of my buddies from college who really made it. And he said, I don't mean to sound like a jerk, but wanted to let you guys know I got a private jet. I'm flying in for the game, flying home that night, room for 7 if any of you want to go. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, I could have rolled in on a private jet to the finals, taking it home that night, and I'm not even going to be here.
Well, you're going to be on vacation with your family, so that sounds like a win too, doesn't it?
Yeah, whatever.
I tried.
By the way, your audience is great. I love all the chats coming in. That's great. It's so much fun.
And let me tell you something. You just built even more friends being a Michigan man here. Our producer loves you that much more with everything going on here. But okay, let me ask you real quick, just sticking with oil here. Are you playing strictly USO, or do you look at other individual oil plays like ExxonMobil or ConocoPhillips or Chevron or anything like that? Or even some of the smaller guys like Battalion?
I just picked you. By the way, so when I learned to trade, literally back in the day, one of the things that we were taught was to channel a specific sector. That's how they would teach you to trade. They're like, watch the bank stocks, watch the oil stocks, watch it, whatever it is. And I started with oil. And the thing about oil was there's so many different factors that move it. Weather, war, just like whatever it is, the barrel reserve release numbers. It was miserable. And so I said, I'm never trading oil again. And I honestly haven't until I just started trading USO. But I'm literally just trading one because I don't love trading oil. There's too much. Like there could be any announcement and it reshuffles the deck like crazy and you get a major move. So I try not to get too carried away with oil. I've just been trading USO. The options have been good to trade. I've actually been trading it well. I sold a bull put spread on Friday that expired today and I covered it. Half the premium was gone just because it stayed up. And that's how I traded it yesterday.
Where do you think it goes next year? Do you think we've got more of a pullback? I mean, look how extended this thing is from the moving averages.
So I actually made a bet live with Tom Sosloff, and I said we never go against each other, but I said that oil will hit 130 before, and he said it will hit 70 before it hits 130. And I think I'm very close to winning.
Okay. Well, look, I love Tom, but you're one of our best guests here. I'm on your team for this. I'm rooting for you.
Well, you also got a big lead with me, so I appreciate it.
I was trying not to say that, but if you're going to throw that in there, there you go.
Thank you.
Folks, get all of Adam's top option strategies in one simple training and learn how he finds trades looking to print money every week. Adam, anything else you got for us here today that you think we should take a look at?
So I like that we covered the brokerages. I mean, just to talk about for a second, I'll tell you this is more of a fun story. Like sometimes you hear a good story, just anything about money moving and it gets you excited to trade. So this isn't really an idea. It's over. But have you seen VCX?
Oh, yeah.
So I have a buddy who invested in it 2 years ago when it was private.
Mm-hmm.
And he called me on the Friday that it opened. It was supposed to open at 18. And it opened at 100. He's like, dude, I put in like 15 grand and it's worth like $100,000 right now. And then all of a sudden it started going up to 100, 200, 300, 400, and it's at like 570. So his $15,000 investment was worth $570,000. And we're on the phone every day. And I'm like, is there any way you can get out? Because there's a 6-month lockup.
Yep.
And he goes, no. I'm like, find a way out. And he goes, why? This won't stay up here? I'm like, if you could hold 100, it's a win. I'm like, we know this is coming down. Just stay out of the way. But it was down like 400 points in a day or something like that.
Yep.
Crazy.
Absolutely. On Thursday, March 26th, this stock was down 118 points in a single session. And I think this thing had like a net asset value of $17 and it's trading above 500. Just something absurd.
But that's what I love about the market. Any given day, any given stock, there's always that potential. But now you got to measure that with correct position sizing and controlling your risk. But that's what's exciting. Like that kind of excitement to see him, even on paper, have 15,000 turn into over 500,000 is like, it's part of the reason we show up because the money moves 100%. Here and you find the right ideas. And it just reminded me that it's exciting to be trading and have opportunities.
You're absolutely right. There is no mechanism that has created more wealth over the course of history than the United States stock market. This is why we all care about this and why we all do this.
By the way, Newsmax, when it IPO'd, hit 265, and I actually did short that one. And I knew them well, and I was like, this is the biggest BS move. But I was like really scared, and now it's like 4.
Yep. 5. Pretty good short there. All right. Adam, look, it's great checking in with you all of the time. I can't wait to do it again. Thanks very much for joining us here today. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. I look forward to having you back pretty soon. Find that golf swing for me, though.
I need it.
All right, folks. Adam Mesh from T3. Really appreciate it. We'll check in with him next time. T3 guys are great. Adam is one of the best there. Really good stuff across the board. So we really appreciate that. All right, folks, like I said, we are trying to always bring you the best possible content here. And I know normally we do pre-market pulse around this time for 13. We are going to have 13 here, but I have another special guest for you here today. It is my pleasure to welcome Linda Montgomery, VP of Corporate Development at ZenaTech. Let's go ahead and bring her on. Linda, good morning. How are you? Can you hear me okay? Oh. Can you hear me okay? Oh, no. We have an audio issue. All right. Can you?
I can't hear you.
Okay.
I can't hear you.
All right. Producer, can you help me out with this somehow? Looks like we have an audio issue. She can't hear me here. I know it's one of the first times that she has joined here. Producer, let me see if there's anything that you can do to help her out. In the meantime, I don't want to give up on that. So in the meantime, let me actually go through here and run some tweets. I do want to show you a specific tweet here that kind of ties into what we were talking about. We'll try and work out Linda's audio issue here in just a sec. Let me go ahead and we are going to go and do our street tweet segment here. Just one sec. All right, first tweet here comes from Steve Burns, and folks, this one is a banger here. Going back to 1926, the S&P 500 has seen an average drawdown of 18.2% in the 12 months before midterm elections. Going back 60 years, the smallest drawdown has been 7.4%, while the largest was a whopping 41.8%. After the midterms, however, everything is fine. Everything is fine. So I say all of that, and here's the chart. You know what? Let me actually drop the tweet itself so that you folks can get a better view of the actual data here. Producer's doing two things at once. That's how good the producer is, by the way. Smash up the like for him. This to me is really important. We've talked about some of these pullbacks in the market. Is it just kind of a regular correction? Is it something bigger? Where's the bottom? Do we buy the dip? If we do buy the dip, when do we buy the dip? Stats here showing you that in a midterm year, not only are corrections normal, but it is normal or par for the course, if you will, that at the end of this, everything is fine. And so just kind of going with this tweet here, my thoughts are that, yeah, this is definitely going to be a buying opportunity. Really, what our job is going to be is figuring out exactly where that buying opportunity is. So that's kind of what I'm thinking here. I saw this one come across the tape. Steve, by the way, while we're on the subject here, no affiliation with Benzinga. Steve Burns here, S. Joseph Burns on X at S. Joseph Burns. This was literally one of the first follows that I followed on Twitter at the time when I started getting into stocks. And I got to say that this account, one of the things that really kind of saved me as a new, fresh trader here, lots of stuff on risk management, lots of stuff on psychology, lots of stuff on keeping you safe. And it's really kind of helped me over the course of my journey. So great to see a nice tweet here from him on that. Producer, if you are there, can we go to the next tweet? Oh, look how the producer's doing 8 things at once. I absolutely love it. Our next tweet here comes from Ross Gerber. Many of the best companies in the world are now wildly cheap. Patience will reward long-term investors. Challenging times create opportunities. Well, this is good. We just had Adam talking about how you want to add some of these companies on pullbacks, kind of waiting out a down move here. We had LPL Financial during the Insights segment of the broadcast here talking about constructive, kind of waiting out the spot to buy the dip. Now we're seeing Ross Gerber, fund manager, saying the same thing. We just showed you a stat that during midterm years, we almost always get a pullback. Sometimes they're awfully scary pullbacks, and still everything ends up being okay. So looks to me like we have a lot of people kind of thinking the same thing. And the big $64,000 question, if you will, is where is the bottom? Where is the buy spot? But Just trying to show you we have a number of different things pointing to the same thing. All right, let's get back here to our interview. Let's see if we have our audio issues. Let's see if we have our audio issues resolved. Thank you, producer, for doing everything. I already played the intro, so we're just going to do a cold open. Linda, can you hear me this time?
I can hear you this time. Can you hear me?
Beautiful. I hear you like you're sitting in the room with me, so that's perfect. Really appreciate your patience here getting over technology issues. As mentioned, Linda Montgomery, VP of Corporate Development at ZenaTech, ticker is ZENA. And for those of you that don't know, ZenaTech is a technology solution provider specializing in AI drone as a service, which is DaaS, enterprise software as a service, and quantum computing solutions company. Linda, thank you very much for joining us here today. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
All right. I just want to get right into this, but I want to have you kind of tell us, can you provide an overview of how ZenaTech's core business and how it differentiates itself within the AI drone technology space?
Yes. So we have three basic business divisions of our company. First of all, is we design and manufacture AI drones, and we're focused on business, government, and defense markets, and we do that through ZenaDrone, our drone company. Secondly, we're growing a drone as a service business, and this is basically a platform for drone-based inspections, surveys, power washing, and other services. And we have a business and government customers right now. We're generating revenue, and we have a unique vision and speed in our execution of that business. And then thirdly, we have an enterprise SaaS software business that's revenue generating. We've had customers for recurring customers for a number of years, and we differentiate, I guess, through this diversity of revenue streams and businesses as a drone company. And we also differentiate because we've got a lot of software development skills, and we use that a lot in our developing our AI drone solutions. So.
Okay, now speaking about that, how are the drone solutions incorporating and leveraging AI? I mean, I don't need to tell you, AI is like the hot topic everywhere in every industry, and obviously with drones and autonomous drone missions and swarms and stuff together. How are your drone solutions using this?
Yeah, we use AI a lot of ways.
Okay.
And first of all, our ZenaDrone 1000 drone has rotatable arms. And we use AI to control these arms, and we use our sensors pick up wind and air pressure, and we control the rotation for smoother flight, for greater speed, and also to conserve battery power. Another way we use AI is through our indoor drone. We have an indoor drone that takes inventory, scans the barcodes, makes inventory management faster and safer and far more efficient. So we use AI to recognize barcodes in dark conditions, and we also use AI for identifying objects or people that you want to avoid.
Yeah.
And then AI is very important in our defense business. We're currently building an R&D facility right now in Louisiana that is going to focus on AI solutions for defense, and we're going to be working with a lot of military data sets and incorporating AI models into our counter UAS solutions and also our ISR, inspection, surveillance, reconnaissance solutions as well. And basically interceptor drones. I mean, basic logic is around AI. So, for instance, there's the AI cameras on these interceptor drones, where as they're in the nose, and then they need to detect enemy objects, and then and identify them. And then as they get closer, they need to go faster to be able to intercept those objects. So just some ways we're incorporating AI, and we incorporate it in our business as well, in our drone as a service offerings. In addition to that.
Now, two things that you mentioned there that I think are really cool. First of all, the indoor drone that scans barcodes. I think that would be a perfect solution for a company like Costco or Home Depot that has very high ceilings and a ton of inventory that needs to get scanned there. And you also mentioned the counter drone aspect. I don't know if you caught the 60-minute piece over the weekend, but there's a lot there that can be done. We're seeing it actually used in conflicts here. So that's really great. Let me just get down to brass tacks here. What are some of the key growth drivers for ZenaTech over the next 12 and 24 months?
So our drone as a service business is a recurring revenue service business. And over 70% of our revenues at the moment come from that business area. We have an aggressive roll-up strategy, and we've acquired 20 land survey engineering and inspection companies. And then we're basically, this is a roll-up strategy where we're targeting these legacy businesses, under digitized businesses, and incorporating our drones. And as part of this, we are acquiring customers' revenue as well, because they all have existing customers before we acquire them, and we are expanding our margins. So we're incorporating our drones and using centralized services. We are implementing AI automation and data services, part of inspection and maintenance as well. So, and then if you look at our enterprise SaaS business, as I mentioned, that's recurring revenue. We grew that 137% in the most recent quarter that we reported. And I guess a longer term driver is our defense business. And so we're pursuing green and blue UAS certification, so we can be on procurement lists for U.S. defense agencies. We're working on pilots, and we are engaging with program managers across U.S. defense agencies, and in the future, we would like to also sell to NATO now that we have a prototypes that we're working on for counter UAS, in addition to our other drone solutions.
Okay, so that sounds awesome. It sounds like you're actually dipping your toe into a lot of different verticals here. And you kind of touched on this a little bit, but what industries or verticals do you focus on where you're seeing the strongest demand and the biggest opportunities ahead? I would imagine defense is one of those.
Defense is one of those, yes. Defense and agriculture are two growing ones. With large total addressable markets. They're significant and expanding, but also our drone as a service. So we're seeing strong demand for infrastructure and inspections, utilities, and surveying in construction and builder markets, and also with government. We have lots of municipal and state government customers. So we are incorporating our drones and using drones for these services. The ROI can be pretty immediate, and we're finding that customers are actively replacing legacy and looking at how they can actively replace legacy workflows.
Okay, awesome. Now, lastly here, and again, thank you for all of that. Looking ahead, what milestones or catalysts should investors and viewers today be watching more closely with ZenaTech? Right.
So I think that we're going to be continuing to scale our drone as a service model. And this is kind of a core revenue engine for us right at the moment. And the key is integrating our drones into these workflows. And I think second is this is acquisition-led consolidation strategy that we are doing across the U.S. We have 20 acquisitions. We've done we've got 18 acquisitions in the U.S. We've done 2 international ones, and And so, we're starting to grow globally. And then third would be, certainly the integration of our AI drones and automation across operations. There's going to be more workflows will become automated. We're going to be focusing on margins and margin expansion and scalability. And then finally, our defense business. So I think you can look to, we want to get green and blue UAS certification and to get on military procurement lists. Also, we're engaging with program managers. So what normally happens is, we're after those pilots and then those longer term contracts. And then I guess finally, so you can see more engagement over time on that. And then I think finally is continual development of our milestones in our product development and some of our prototypes that we just launched, the ZENA drone 2000, the maritime interceptor drone. We launched the IQ glider, which is a refueling, a launch and refueling station for this. And then we also have recently launched a interceptor, a drone, low cost one-way interceptor drone that we hope to be able to be offering for less than $5,000. So these are all prototype stage. So I think you can be watching our milestones as we develop those. And part of our counter UAS is it's really an integrated defense system is what we're working on.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we will keep doing that. And I again want to thank you here for joining us this morning and talking about it. I think I speak for all of the viewers here. We recognize how important drones are going to be in all of these applications, not just the military application. And we recognize also that we're in the infancy of this, really. So really excited to see a whole bunch of these different products and milestones get reached. I hope that we can have you back as we continue to cross some of those milestones off of the list. Linda, thank you very much for joining us here today. Good luck with everything there at ZenaTech. All right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, folks. That is Linda Montgomery, VP of Corporate Development at ZenaTech. The ticker is ZENA on the NASDAQ. It's one that we have looked at plenty of times before. We will continue to trade a lot of these drone names. This isn't going anywhere. We thank ZenaTech for sending someone out to talk about this when they actually have news. So really, really good stuff. All right, folks, moving on here. I know we are pressed for time. I know I'm kind of behind the 8 ball, so let me not waste any more time. We are going to start our pre-market pulse segment right now. Let's bring on 13. All right, 13, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Halfway through my coffee, so I'm already, in speed mode. But I don't have a whole lot of time, so I'm going to say good morning and let's get to it.
Okay, let's get to it indeed. And like I said, I'm really excited here today. Obviously, packed show here for you today. Okay, I'm going to go right to the movers list, and I'm going to start with what's at the top. 13. I don't think I'm going to need you for this one. No offense. First one here is APLS. This is Apellis Pharmaceuticals. Shares are trading higher after the company announced it will be acquired by Biogen for $41 a share. Now, this is key because this stock closed at $17.09 yesterday. So if you happen to own this ahead of the buyout, bring that register. Today is your day. 13, I was joking about not needing you here on this one. Nice little buyout, so there's no trade here. But any takeaways from this at all?
No, I feel like we're wasting time looking at stuff like this.
Okay, sorry about that. I will continue not wasting time then. Jeez.
CNTA also being acquired. That's why that one's up. So that's out of the way too.
Tough crowd here with
hey, look,
today.
It's not a tough crowd. We just don't have a whole lot of time. We got 13 minutes. Shout out. And we're we don't have a whole lot. We don't have a lot of time to talk about. So I want to get through this because I looked at some of these and one looks like it's about ready to go. So we got to get through this.
Which one do you want next?
Kids regaining NASDAQ compliance. This did a 1-for-50 reverse split on March 10th. That's why their float is 994,000 shares. It's also seeing some insider buying happening with this company. I think prior to that insider buying, the company does have some cash and revenue. not really sure if it's like sustainably profitable. It doesn't quite look like it is. So not sure if it's going to need to raise cash in the future. Right now, it doesn't look like it needs to. We're getting some movement as we speak, trying to get to the pre-market highs of 376. Looks like $4. If we do get past this 376 area, is going to be resistance. It seems like that whole area between 375 and $4 has been a bit of a tough area this morning for the stock. And when you look at a daily chart, you can see that there's a bit of a shelf at $4 that we fell off of or not too long ago, and it's been having a hard time getting back above it. So as we approach the open here, trying to take out that 376, it looks like $4 is the spot where we could see resistance. But if we break through that, we can explore some other potential upside targets after that.
Okay, sounds really good there. Not a whole lot of short interest on this, despite the low float there. 13 ate his Wheaties and had his coffee here today. Next, we have Mask. This is 3E Network. Stock's up 33.87%. Let's see if there was any news on this one. No, I've got nothing fresh here. Looks like this, though, yesterday, shares of companies within the broader technology sector are trading lower with weakness in the region. So I don't really see any fresh news on this one here. Did you cover this one?
Yeah, and I was looking to see if I could find some news. And, as you pointed out, it doesn't look like there's anything that might just be moving up with the rest of the tech sector. But looking at the chart, this thing is absolutely smashed. This had an RSI yesterday of 27.5. I'm sorry. It's actually lower than that, 22.7. So this is probably also getting a little bit of a rebound happening here, being that it's such a low RSI. So I would take those two things as potentially the reason why we're seeing this upside move here today. But that move happened in the pre-market. It's given it a good portion of it back, and it's gone sideways. So it doesn't look like it's doing a whole lot. Might get some more movement out of the gate. This has 19.5 million shares in the float. It did a 1-for-25 reverse split on March 10th, and that's still got a float that size. The company does need cash, though. So be careful with this one. Could see a capital raise at some point, maybe as early as today. Support area is going to be the 200 EMA on the 5-minute, and resistance. If there is going to be a resistance prior to the VWAP, it'd probably be at about 175. So other than that, going to be VWAP as resistance.
Okay, yeah, looks pretty good there. And indeed, that is holding that 159 200-day EMA. Okay, next on the list here, SOGP. This was a winner from our happy hour group, so it's nice to see this coming back here again. Sound Group shares are trading higher after the company reported fiscal year 25 financial results and announced a special cash dividend here. Stock is higher by just about 32%. Quick peek at the short interest, 3.88% with 6.85 days to cover. So there's something there. We'll see how much that plays into it. On average, it only trades 68,000 shares a day. It's traded 660,000 here today versus a float of 2.8 million. What do you have here on Sound Group, SOGP?
Yeah, this company actually looks much better than the other two we were just looking at. Finances seem much better, well enough to give a special dividend of 0.006 cents per share. This is an ADS company, so that's why it's that amount. But finances look fine. As far as it's got 2.88 million shares in the float, so it should be able to move around pretty easily. The resistance I've got right now at 22. We did pop above that earlier this morning to 22.51. But for the majority of this morning here, and I think the entire morning here, we've only been able to really kind of get up to 22, and then we get rejected. So 22 is going to be a big resistance area that we may end up breaking after we open here. But if we cannot do that, it looks like support's going to be VWAP.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there. So the VWAP, pretty clear. It's actually providing a shelf now, and that $22 level resistance that you spoke about, clear as day on that. Okay, moving on here. Next is NPT. This is Texon Holdings. Looks like this actually spiked up towards 7 here early this morning on some pretty decent volume as well. Let's take a look and see if we had any news on this one here. I don't see anything fresh on this. Up 21.6%, almost 4% of the float shorted there. Only 1 day to cover. Float on this one is 3.5 million, so it's right in our butter zone, and it trades just about 1 million shares a day. Today it's done over 2.3 million. Anything on this one?
Looks like they've got they're on the teetering back and forth between profitability. They had a much better year in 2024 than they did in 2025, but they still make a lot of money, hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, but they seem to break even pretty much all the time. As far as the chart goes, looks like we are setting up to try and push higher. As long as that VWAP that we're getting some support at right now holds up, as we approach the open, we would look to take out that 200 EMA. That's kind of giving us the resistance right now. And if we, but it looks like it's kind of flagging. So it seems to me that if we hold this VWAP, we can try to push through that 200 EMA, and we'll make some new highs, probably go through 7 pretty easily. But that's only if we can hold up here above this VWAP and retake that 200. But we get that, I think we're going to see 7.
Okay. Do you have anything else on your list, just so I don't move around here? What?
No, we managed to burn through it. I thought I wasn't going to have enough time, but looks like we got plenty of time.
But that's how we do here, 13. We are as efficient as we can be. By the way, while we were discussing this, and you might not have had time to go over this, maybe it did a little bit, we've got Jensen on TV right now talking with Marvell. I believe it's the CEO. We've got Marvell popping on news here in the pre-market. Marvell technology shares are trading higher after NVIDIA announced a partnership with a $2 billion investment in the company to connect it to the NVIDIA AI Factory and AI RAN ecosystem through NVIDIA's NVLink Fusion. Now, we've seen this catalyst before, right? The NVIDIA Connect platform, the Fusion platform, that's driving Marvell higher here. Looks like this stock moved from about $89 to $98. We traded back down, was supported by the 9 EMA. We've recently just recaptured VWAP. The volume looks good. I can't hear exactly what they're saying on CNBC right now. This interview is ongoing. Companies will collaborate on silicon photonics technology. So this seems like good news on the surface. But I would imagine there's the same circular funding kind of warning or worry going on. What do you think of this, 13?
Well, you said the magic P word, photonics. That's the one that's been interesting me a lot because we talked a lot about chips. We've talked a lot about data centers and different types of systems that interconnect them. But one thing that I keep going back to is just how important photonics are going to end up being for the transmissibility between these different data sets, these different servers. By the way, NPT is starting to make that move. So it's photonics are going to be very interesting to me because it's the thought is that it's going to consume less power, but it's going to have its other challenges because using light as opposed to electrons for processing data is going to come with its own set of challenges. But it's very interesting when you're putting optics between servers and try to make them communicate quicker. So that's where I think photonics are going to be a big player in inter data center and inter server communication. So great to see that they're doing this with Marvell, a company that we know of. Kind of wondering how the CEO didn't know about this, or maybe this was just something that was developed in the past 5 days because they were selling there was insider selling just earlier this month, like last week. So kind of makes you wonder what were they seeing that we aren't. But anyway, that might be just it could be another reason that they're selling those shares.
No, you know what, 13? This is a really good catch on your part. The guy that's on TV right now, his name is Matthew Murphy. He's literally sitting next to Jensen, the CEO. He's also the chairman. Mm-hmm. And you're absolutely right. This guy sold 30,000 shares for $3 million March 26th. Now, the only thing I can think of, 13, going back to what Tim Melvin has taught us about this, there are 8 million different reasons why a CEO could sell some. I mean, hell, he might be refreshing his suit collection here. After the sale of those 30,000 shares, he still has 310,000. So it's not as if he liquidated anything here. It looks like he just kind of raised $3 million. Maybe he's building a new house. I don't know. So there could be a number of reasons for that. This is still a very interesting catch here today. Lion here said Marvell's a great company. Looking at the chart, sure looks like this is going to try and trade higher here today. Maybe we test 100 on Marvell.
I think so. It looks like that we're setting up as we approach the open here. It looks like we're setting up to take out 98. And once we do, I think that's going to push us past 99 into 100. it just has that setup. Look like we could scallop higher beyond 98. So that's kind of what I'd be expecting here with Maribel. We'll see if we end up getting that out of the open.
Okay. Are they both wearing wet leather jackets? No, Jensen is wearing his traditional leather, but Mr. Murphy here has a nice, what looks like a wool suit coat on.
And you know, Kathy, thank you for bringing that up. There's also some other really big players that are in the photonics as well. Like I believe Honeywell and IBM are some of the biggest players. I think Cisco is also involved in that, as well as Broadcom. But a lot of big players in that photonics. Thank you for bringing up the stock, though.
Okay, we've got less than 2 minutes till we open here, and this is absolutely worth shouting out. Rustam, member for 49 months. I'll tell you what, when we ask you guys to support us for doing something free by smashing the like, Rustam not only has been doing that, but has been going above and beyond for multiple years. Rustam, we thank you. Can you please take a look at ASNS? Yeah, I can. 49 months of support. I don't care if you bring me a penny stock. We're going to take a look at it. Here's what it looks like, Rustam. We traded higher here yesterday. This thing actually did move 5 cents peak to trough intraday. We're basically about the midway point here with nothing going on. 13. Let me make sure here. Yesterday, excuse me, we got a $3 price target. Litchfield Hills reinstates a buy and slaps a $3 price target. Now that's almost a 10x from where we're at now. So 13, do you have anything here on the chart for this one?
Chart doesn't look good, but it's such a low price that I don't know if it can really go a whole lot lower. I think the interesting thing here is what the news has been this month about them getting a follow-on order for a North American railway company to expand network infrastructure. This may be something that could be better later. We're looking at industrials, and we're still looking at America with their infrastructure build out with their grid. Probably see some improvements on the rail side as well. I think that this may end up being better later. I don't know about right now. I don't know what other catalysts it's got going on. The earnings aren't looking great with their massive amounts of EPS misses they have going on, and we're open. But anyway, just to wrap this up with ASNS, I don't know about this one right now, but maybe later on, once we get past this oil issue, it might be better. But I don't know about this right now.
Okay. All right. We are open here. Really good stuff. Here's kids right out of the open. And actually, 13, I'm going to have you run through a couple of these real quick. I have been holding it for a while with the morning. Here's SOGP. Remember, watch that $22 level. 13, I'll be right back real quick.
All right. So SOGP, and we're waiting for that $22 level. There's a seller in the way at $21.95. This has quite a bit of a spread on it. Looks like, it looked like about 68 cents the spread was. Be careful with SOGP with how big that spread is. Mask, this thing kind of sinking down towards the 200 EMA very slowly. Looks like there's a seller walking that down right now. Kids, this is taking off. We're looking at 4, still seeing that resistance at 4, but we managed to get through the 375 area. Now we just printed 4. Still haven't pushed above it yet. And there we are, slight print above 4, and we're pulling back a little bit. So resistance still a little bit strong there at 4, but we did get our print. That's some good news there. BMNR, some of the names that we like to look at. This was going up, as is some of the space names. Wouldn't be surprised if some of those space names are getting a little bit of excitement with the Artemis launch that's happening tomorrow. Let's see what else we got here. Hey, no problem, Rustam. ONDS. I'll look at ONDS in a second, and then a BFRG watching. I'm going to look at both of those. So ONDS, what's that doing today? Looks like it's got a little bit of a rebound happening here, up 2%. Kind of inside of the real body from yesterday's candle. If it can hold inside there, that might represent a little bit of a turnaround, and we would want to see the price come back up to 9 over the next several days.
Thank you very much, by the way.
No problem.
13 kids busting higher here, going to 4. It looks like.
It did go to 4. We were just talking about how we went a little bit over 4 and then came back in. That was where the resistance was we were talking about. So at least we got that print. But we need to hold here, I would say, probably above 350 if we're going to make any other attempt to go up to 4 again. NPT, by the way, this one we were looking for to get over 7. Couldn't quite get up there, and now it's halted to the downside. We lost VWAP in the process. And we have SOGP, that's also selling now that we couldn't get above 22. That one was also very spready. Mask finally showing some signs of life here.
All right, sorry, I'm catching up with you here. Really good stuff there, by the way, 13. Market is pulling back out of the open. I know that we were higher earlier. I'd asked the group what we think we're going to do here today. Market is still figuring out where it's going to go. SPY's below the VWAP. S&P 500 still, futures still holding above the VWAP.
Kids higher now, 417. Broke through that 4. Now 4, we want to use that as a support. So we might get some more upside prints here, but once we start coming back in, we're going to want to see 4 hold up. 424 now. Fantastic stuff here with kids.
Okay. BFRG getting mentioned by Kathy here. That's been a mover here this week. That is indeed, looks like 140. That was a resistance area yesterday, so we'll see if we pop that here again today. That's BFRG.
Now, we did have some big, selling yesterday in the SPY and, pretty much the broader market. So not too surprising that we're getting a bit of a bounce here.
Relief rally?
Relief rally. Like Lion's saying, it looks like a relief rally day. So, I could see, and I totally expect there to be chop this week and next week. So we could, see some recovery and then we could shoot right back down. I mean, there's a lot of unresolved issues geopolitically. So there's, certainly a possibility for things to whip around quite a bit for the next 2 weeks.
Okay. First push up here on SPY. That's one scalp done. We'll see if we stop or pop 640. Remember, this was resistance yesterday. We actually talked about this with Adam Mesh earlier. So that would be a next thing to clear out here. We'll see if we do that.
Looks like Mask wants 185. That's going to be the next resistance that I see from where we're at now. That was an area that was getting support in the pre-market here, and then we lost that area around 650 this morning, coming back up to test it.
Now, Robot to Trade saying window dressing for the last day of the quarter. Let me ask you. So
that's right.
I had mentioned earlier, tomorrow being the first day of the quarter and of the new month, we're going to see some inflows. Do you think we might get a little continuation on that, or is the masking kind of the top here? What do you think on that? Let me know.
Yeah, it could be a situation where we may not sell off today and continue to push higher into the morning tomorrow and then sell off after that, after the inflows. So bingo. Marvell, by the way, so that nice little kind of a curl spike up to 98 and then a big time pull, kind of nasty. I'll say Lion's right on this. This is a great company. So let's see if this maybe gives us a trade the rest of the day. The first thing I'm going to do, 13, is I'm going to connect these two highs with a trend line. That gives us a target in case we do reverse here. Nothing yet for me on that, but one to watch here, Marvell. SPY struggled with that 640, just as we anticipated. It's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's ZOM, man. And I call it ZOM because one of our happy hour members calls this ZOM. It's XOM, of course, Exxon Mobil. This did pop here out of the open. Looks like 174 stopped it. Now, Retro, sorry, 13. Let me just do this real quick. Retro saying market has been kicked in the teeth for weeks. I'm looking for some recovery. But the question is how much recovery? Like a full-on recovery, a test of the 200-day and a roll? What? Give me a little bit more on that, what you're expecting. And 13, you're welcome to do so as well. Well, just looking at a couple of other names that were getting some movement here in the morning before we opened. ELAB and ARTL are a couple that I'm also keeping an eye on. And let's see where they go. So ARTL, this has been trying to recapture the VWAP all morning. So given enough volume, it might be able to do that. But just keeping an eye on that for now, looking for capture of VWAP. ELAB, this one also out of the gate tried to push higher into above 420. 430 is the pre-market high. Right now, it looks like it's trying to do it again. So we'll see what we get out of those two. Those looked like they had a little bit of weight behind them.
Okay. All right, decent. SPY back on now here, trying to trade back up to the 640. It's worth noting I did get a buy indicator on, or excuse me, I keep doing that. I did get a buy signal on my SPY 0 DTE indicator. We'll see here if this can pop above 640. We are above VWAP.
Yeah, big hurt. We just got to that 185 area. We're moving past it. So it looks like we got through a little bit of resistance. Lots of sellers still in the way.
Oh no. Did this just happen? Did Kramer just say he's all in Marvell? Lion, what do we do with Marvell if Kramer if this is actually what happened? What do we do? What do we do with Marvell? If Kramer's all in, what's Lion doing with Marvell? Gotta know.
Maybe that's why it didn't pop up over 100. As soon as we opened, because Kramer started talking about it.
Okay. Lion here saying, Ryan, I think the market is sniffing the end of the war soon. Lion, I think the same thing. I've been saying that for a little bit. So if nothing else, I've been consistent. We'll wait and see. By the way, sorry for got a lot of stuff going on right now. Space is taking off, right? This is Virgin Galactic. This was higher on the back of its Q4 EPS. Actually looks like it might be trading to that 270 after hours high. Okay, Lion, thank you for the direct answer there. Stay in Marvell. So you like it. You like it even with Kramer's, let's call it jinx, maybe. You like it there. That's exactly what I was looking for. By the way, that SPY buy signal flashed off. SPY came back in, held VWAP, and is trading back up again. I got another one here. Still no, and it just flashed off again. So this is definitely something that I need to work on for this indicator. I'm sorry. This is one of the reasons I don't call this out every day. I don't want you folks to be kind of whipsawed around. It does look like the SPY is going to try and push higher from 640. That's kind of what I'd be watching here on that.
Kids. So there's a trend line that I've got here on kids. It's from all the highs in the pre-market, and now we're testing that same trend line as support. So that was a bit of a breakout trend line that took us past 4. Want to see this trend line hold up? Do you see it? It's with all the wicks prior to the open.
Yep, I sure do. So let me actually draw that here on the chart 13. This one's fairly easy to see. You're absolutely right. You want that to hold.
Yep. So I want to see that hold up. If we do get this to hold up over the next, I would say maybe 10, 15 minutes, we should see some higher prints.
Okay. SPY here, 639.89. We'll see if it pops that 640 here. I got 2 buy signals on this no position. I only scalped it once here. So if it goes without me, I'm going to miss the big one. But let's see here. And by the way, do we have a new nickname? Was a new nickname born on the show here today? Lion says this is the first time I agree with Creamer.
You don't want him in your
Is
copy.
Kramer's new nickname Creamer? Producer, we might need a vote. Lion, I absolutely love that, by the way. I don't even know if you meant to do that, but it was awesome.
Hey, sometimes there's happy little mistakes. Shout out Bob Ross.
640 on the SPY, folks. So we did pop above that here. Now, if we can hold above that, maybe we're going to have more of a relief rally.
Mask still holding above VWAP. It's looking for 2.
Well, this has been a fun day already. We're barely even into the day. Reggie here mentioning Tesla. Tesla at the highs here today. Let's see if it can take out yesterday. I'll tell you what, this area would be something. 365 on Tesla. We'll see. SPY still flirting with 640 there. Unsure if we're going to get a run from it.
Oh, yeah, Robot. We were really oversold in the SPY. It was only a matter of time before we were getting some kind of bounce here. Now, how sustainable this is, we'll see. Gosh, a lot. You grow. I was mentioning it earlier. This is still going. This actually just pushed past the pre-market open.
All right, here is you grow. I think 24 maybe.
Let's see. Go ahead. I'll look and see where.
Okay, WIS calling NBIS to 100. We saw NBIS big time sell off yesterday. This all the way down to what, like 90, right? Yeah, 90. Here we are. It's 99. We're almost at 100 here. WIS, let me take it a step further here. Do we fill all the way up to 102?
With Ugro, looking at the price action from yesterday, there's a couple of there's like an area between 24 and 25 that we might find some resistance if we get through 24. 24 was a resistance area in the back half of the day. It's an area we sold off right through, and once that happened, the price couldn't recover. But for the time before that, it was holding above 25. So I would be looking at 24 to 25 as an area where we probably would find resistance here in Ugro. And we're approaching 24 right now. So we'll see if that ends up happening. All right, NPT, this thing just got absolutely hammered. SOGP, this went down to the 65 EMA. It's trying to turn around. Still not able to get above 22, except just right now it did.
And that's right. SOGP that you're looking at there?
Yeah, just a second. Just as I was talking about it, it just went right through 22 really quickly, and it might end up halting.
Okay, that would be something if that halts. Speaking, I don't know if this is going to be at a halt risk. I don't think so, but Lion might have made a very good early call here as Marvell's starting to bounce off that impulse pull. I would love to see this get back above 95. I've got the 15 EMA there at 94.85. Let's see if this thing can pop back above 95 on Marvell.
Hello, Nads. And the case for the dead cat and the 5700, 57.
On which one?
I'm just reading Robot Trade and what he's saying here. Just sell the rip. I mean, yeah, I kind of get the sense that selling these upside moves into these upside moves would probably be better. I don't think that we're finished with all the volatility yet.
Okay, yeah, I'll be honest with you. I agree with Lion. I do think that the end of the war is closer rather than further away. I guess that's the most general way that I can put it. But I also agree with you, 13. I don't think the volatility is done yet. I love this comment. Ryan, I said start buying the dip. As a lion, I can smell prey from miles away, and I think the war is ending soon. Lion, I love tying it together right there. I like a good story like that. Good stuff.
Look what Ugro just did. So it pushed through that 24, went up to 25.34, and came back into the middle between the two areas where I was just talking about, between 24 and 25, and that's where we're at right now.
So basically, it's doing what you thought.
Well, it went a little bit past where I thought the resistance was, but it's kind of hanging out in between where I thought we would kind of see some, price action. So we'll see if it can push up and recapture 25, but I'm still looking at that as a resistance area.
Okay. Nads, hello, welcome. Look, I really like comments like this, especially when the market is just kind of crazy here. Nads saying, I took a break from trading because I was overcomplicating things in my head. Nads, I've done that a whole bunch of times before. You're not alone. Now I feel much more clear and disciplined. Sometimes all we need is a break to reset. I fully support this. 13, I think you do too.
Yep.
Sometimes just a mental break is enough to just kind of turn the tide for you. Nads, hope all is going well.
Yep, and he's absolutely right. And you can really do a number on yourself with all the information that's out there. And if you try to absorb it at once, it's you're gonna do yourself a disservice. So I think that's absolutely fantastic that he's exercising his discipline, stepping back, getting his head right, and coming back into the game. That's how you stay in the game longer. Keep on going stronger.
By the way, Spy here, this has actually kind of been a battle. We've been looking at other stuff, so I've taken it off the screen, but it is like oscillating right around 640. It does look like it's trying to push higher here. Also, I have a positive reading here on the tick chart, plus 750. That's actually down from the high, but trying to move back up. And also the advance to decline line, minus 25 here. So maybe if that goes green, we could see kind of maybe more of a broader relief rally. SPY now starting to pick up here and move to the upside, 640.5 on SPY.
Kids still holding above the trend line and VWAP, but there's a seller right now that looks like they're walking this price down. Be careful with the kids here.
Now we still want the kids to hold the trend line here, right? Yeah. Otherwise, it's time to ground them.
In a matter of speaking, yeah. Just be careful with this seller here. Watch what he's doing. He's walked it down to 4, but his size is disappearing now. So he might be getting taken out here with the buyers. Nope, still there. So just keep an eye on that. We might get some support with this trend line here. And if we see the seller disappear, we should turn around and go back up higher.
By the way, Marvell looks like it's continuing here. Remember, I said 95 really kind of needs to be that level. We're at 94.34. Marvell putting in a nice bounce from that pullback here. So Lion, that might have been, I mean, even for a day trade, we'll see how it shakes out here. Maybe I started talking about it too soon. Curse of the commentator, I'm afraid. Jay here saying that's what the gym and golf courses are for. Get away from the screens, especially lately with all the headlines. Yo, I have been 13 is actually fell victim to this. Over the weekend, I was doing everything I could to dissociate myself with the market and all of the headlines. And as a result, 13 sent me a really great thing. And I was like, I'm not at a computer. I can't even respond to this. So Jay, I am completely with you there. Absolutely. I use both of those things to really kind of help.
That's funny. I just got so excited about it. And it was like super, it must have been like super early in the morning or something. And I was like, oh, he's got to see this when he wakes up. I didn't know I was waking you up.
No, I was already up. I was I just had things on the docket that I was doing and I wasn't near a computer. And I was like, I can't do this right now. And then I just started enjoying my weekend. Like, dude, it was almost 80 degrees yesterday. I was smiling from ear to ear the whole day, but I digress.
So one of the fun stocks yesterday.
Sorry, I have to interrupt here. I'm sorry. You were talking about Ugro. This got called by WIS earlier when it looked like it was going to take out the pre-market kind of consolidation zone. Now we've popped 260, still the resistance here. Pola, this is moving on volume. Looks like this is going. Marvell continues to trade higher here. Sorry, 13, get in there.
I think I was talking about Greenland. That sold off, went down to 9. It's trying to rebound. And then there was also Ugro that's pushed into the 25 area now and is finding resistance at 26. Not sure how high this one's going to go. We hit 29 yesterday, but this is still a bit of consolidation. It's got to work its way through. So they might find some sellers there.
The SPY action here, I view this as bullish. Not only did we pop above 640 and now 641, it looks like we are trying to move higher here. Grats to anyone that was in SPY. I'm already out here. I've been out for 2 points now, but a nice little scalp to start the day there on SPY. This rally is continuing. Let me see if there's anything I might have missed headline-wise.
All right. One of the names I was mentioning earlier, ARTL. This looks like it's trying to get above its VWAP here. It was selling off a moment, like about 10 minutes ago, and then it turned around, recaptured some EMAs, trying to get back up to the VWAP that it's been struggling with all morning. So we'll see if it can break past it now.
Jay here saying that it's interesting that some of the leaders are in the red. Jay mentioned Dell and Micron. Here's Micron. Micron is still in the red, but barely, and it actually looks like it's firming up here. Jay, we were talking about Micron yesterday on Happy Hour. Anyone have a buy spot for Micron? An area in which you would like to take this long if this pullback either continues or bases here, maybe find some support. Let me know what you think a good spot is for Micron for a long. Marvell now continuing to trade higher here, 94.50, about to test the VWAP, it looks like, on Marvell. That would be an interesting test. No guarantee it gets through there, but if it does, maybe we can go back towards 100. Sorry, 13.
I think we need to be patient with Micron. I can see a situation where it turns around and starts to recover, but it probably will run into some resistance somewhere between 350 and 360. That would be my expectation here. And if we cannot recapture that area, then we're probably headed lower. To me, I think that 250 makes the most sense, for where we're at right now. But it's not. I don't think we're going to go straight there. It's going to be like a lot of back and forth as we head down to that level. That would be just my opinion, though.
Okay, no, that's real. I was asking for your opinion. Really good stuff there. I asked for more opinions here, and we got some. Izzy thinks Micron is going to find some pretty solid support at 0. So there you go, Izzy. EKS, though, says no interest in Micron. EKS, I'd be curious if that changes. And Izzy, I would say the same thing. If you bump up your support target from 0 to something else.
I'm with EKS on it. I think that it's for now, let it shake out, let it do its thing. It's going to go back and forth a little bit, but I think that we just need to be patient with this one. I think it's a great company, but the price is still pretty elevated, and I think that we need to see this valuation normalize a bit.
Lion here saying I would be a buyer of Micron at 280.
Okay.
So I think you said 250, 280
Yeah.
here is Lion's target. Okay, cool.
That's
Cool.
that's not a bad level either. I just think that you get a lot of support down around 250. But I think if you're looking at this with a long-term view, 280 is fine too.
Okay. All right, really good stuff here, group. And by the way, yesterday when someone asked me in the chat here, Ryan, when are you going to add to your Ondas calls? I'll tell you what, I didn't think Ondas was going to get the pounding it got yesterday, but I did add late day to those calls when it was basically testing 8. So I added just a little bit. I think I spent like $150. The calls were real cheap, and I added just a handful of them. But I did lower my cost basis a little bit. Nice to see Ondas bouncing here today. We'd like to see more of that, frankly.
Look at SGML.
Got it.
This one was from I think yesterday or the day before. Having a really good morning. Coming up to some of the consolidation from yesterday in the pre-market. Looks like around 13 to 1350 might be a bit of a resistance area if I just use that the pre-market price action as an example of where it was finding resistance. So we'll see if it can get through 1315, but that's the next area of resistance that I see.
Okay, Lion, I mean, Lion must be scorching hot right now. Careful if you pat him on the back, because I believe Lion was saying how much he liked SGML yesterday. You'll have to let me know. We're seeing a nice little pop there on a little bit of volume here as well. Trey saying definite interest in Micron with the backlogs and no end in sight. Play the momentum until the news changes. Let me just follow up, Trey. Do you have a level there that you would like Micron at? I agree here. Just kind of the backdrop of these fundamentals that you're talking about. I totally agree there. The backlog is totally jammed. Mm-hmm. But let me know if you have a spot there. And by the way, Glenn, I don't know if you're here. There he is. Ondas 793 was the fib. This was the level that you were calling out yesterday, right? And I couldn't remember exactly what the number was, but I remember you had a number that was right around 8. And I was like, gosh, if this thing gets down to 8, maybe I'll just add a couple of contracts. That's exactly what we got yesterday, Glenn. So shout out to you. We'll give you a 1-up.
Mask now going higher, looking, okay, it just popped up beyond the resistance I was going to mention, but it looks like we're getting some sellers to push it back down. 215 looks like to be the next area that it's going to have a bit of a time getting through, and then you have 230 after that where there's some sellers. 227 is the high in the pre-market, so that makes it understandable why those sellers are hanging out there. That's where the resistance is. We actually just popped right up to that 227 area a moment ago. Need to see a little bit more volume to get through all those sellers, but it's looking pretty good for Mask. If this does get through it, Ryan, we might be able to use the wicks from the pre-market to give us a target.
Say less, buddy. Let me draw that here on the chart.
I could give us what is that, like about
270, 270-ish. Yep.
Okay. All right. Let me see if the daily chart shows anything in that area.
And really quick, while you're looking that up, I'm just going to finish my direct question to Trey, which you were kind enough to answer. My spot is when I see more momentum change. Okay, so fair enough. So more so than a price level, you're actually looking at the price action. Totally get it. But to answer my question, I would love the 250 range. So it sounds like 250 to 280 seems like a pretty good range there on Micron. Thank you, Trey.
Yeah, it looks like maybe 260 to 330 is going to be a bit of an area for Mask.
And Mask just popped up. More volume coming in Mask. And by the way, take a look, guys. Marvell, we talked about this. I don't know what's going to happen at the VWAP. Maybe some resistance. Well, guess what, folks? We traded right up to that VWAP, and we were mutomboed from it thus far.
So Mask in a halt now?
Uh-oh.
Well, I mean, once we unhalt, we might hit somebody stop me.
Yeah, there it is. That's what that's it.
It's kind of making its way.
So.
Yeah. So it's looking like if we come out of this halt, we may just see a pop, and I don't know where it's going to end up going up to, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this run up to 285-ish and then get a little bit slapped down. We'll see. I don't want to make any predictions on this. It might go to the trend line. It might not. We're halted right now. That's the only thing we need to know. It's halted.
Nads, this is actually a good question. How many of you trade only when there is a news catalyst on penny stocks? Now, I'm not entirely sure what your definition of penny stocks is. Mine is the actual penny, so under $1. I know some people include penny stocks up to 5. I would say this: I generally avoid penny stocks, but in some cases, if there's a really good news headline or news catalyst that we have seen move other stocks similarly, sometimes we'll trade that. For me, if I'm trading anything under $1, there has to be either a story or a legit catalyst that I can focus on in order for me to trade that. Stock like Mask here, I'll trade just a chart. It almost doesn't even need a catalyst, and I will be very, very quick on some of my stops, which means in some cases you get shaken out of some of these positions. I'm okay with that because some of these penny stocks are super junk, and I just don't want to be trapped in junk. I feel much better being trapped in a quality company that I can wait out than some piece of junk I've never heard of. Hope that's helpful.
Kids lost a trend line and VWAP, and it's trading lower, but it's getting some support from the 360 area at the moment.
Hello, Kayla.
And we also had SGML, that lithium company I was just talking about. That went up to 316. Now it's finding some resistance.
Virgin Galactic, rockets cooling and coming back into the VWAP here at 257. We'll see if that holds. SPY is just continuing its relief rally. Congrats to anybody that played that here today. SPY just continuing here. I definitely left that one a little too early. Maybe I've just been conditioned by some of these pops getting sold into, but nonetheless, at least we got some green on the screen there.
Now, Lion, with your Ioneer or Ioneer stock, this just had some bad news that might materially affect the ability to extract lithium and boron. There was a Nevada U.S. District Court ruling that slapped down their project or their permit. I mean, anyway, there's some news that's pulling it down 19%. I don't know enough about this company. Maybe you know a lot more about it than I do, but that doesn't look like that's some good news there.
This basically gave up all of its gains from yesterday.
Yeah, on the news. Yeah.
Yeah. Trey, Ryan, I found you guys once markets started the turn down. Do you guys do midterm swing trading on here when conducive? Absolutely, we do. And furthermore, Trey, I actually try and generate discussion around swing trades because, I mean, if you said, okay, you get to play God for a day and you get to choose what the market does, I would choose a condition in which swing trades are the most conducive. I would love to avoid day trading completely and move to swing trading. But if you've traded this market the past several months, you know that has not been conducive at all. We have basically been a chop fest or weak to down, which has made swing trading very, very difficult. I'm absolutely interested in that. As I have better ideas, I'll share them with you. 13 shares these constantly. The space theme has been basically one giant swing and with a whole bunch of different targets in it. So absolutely we'll do that. And frankly, not only you, but anyone else in the chat, if you have a swing thesis that you want the group to look at or pick through, let us hear about it. We absolutely want. I don't want this show to be day trading only. I know we do day trading every day here because we got to do something, but I'm open to all different kinds of trades on that. So keep that in mind. Captain Cloudy saying 644.5 is the target on SPY. That's 2 more points from where we're at now. BFRG can't even chill here. Kathy said it's up 65%. By the time I click on it, it's up 73%. BFRG at the highs here now. Went up to that 20, almost to 26, and we started selling. We're getting some support from VWAP, so we'll see if we can turn around here. Big moves in this one. It went right up to the edge of some resistance we were looking at. AMPX, Amprius, this is another one that we like, the battery play for drones. This went almost to $16. Still above VWAP, but also kind of weakening right now. SGML, that still trying to hold up here, might push higher than 1316. Looking like some of these lithium plays coming back, especially ALB, because there's a big
what's the material over there? It's in the Dead Sea. Starts with a B. It's not boron. Hold on a second. Sorry for the dead air.
It's okay. No, it was my fault too because I was asking
Bromine.
a coworker something. Bromine. Okay.
Bromine. That's what it is.
It did start with a B. You were right on that.
That's a significant producer of bromine. So with the if the Middle East conflict starts to alleviate, then that's going to be good for Albemarle because the their means of production is in the Dead Sea, which is in that Middle East region. All right. Let's see here. What's next? So you grow, trying to turn around here and go back up. Been pretty decent so far. Yeah, bromine, bro. All right, let's go, you grow. Oh, that was a good trade.
Okay. Sorry. I was doing some side work there. I apologize for the dead air. Entirely my fault. Marvell still rejected by the VWAP. Pola still keeps going here. This was a really good Wiss. I'm sorry I didn't get to this one sooner. This was a great guy. I hope you're banking off this, bro.
So that Ugrow trade, really good. Got that support from VWAP. We're turning around. We're coming back up to that same area where I was identifying that having the resistance between 24 and 25. We're in that right now, looking to get back above 25. Volume is, and this is still a very choppy stock, and volume isn't, great. It's good, but it's not great. So just be careful with this one. Maybe set your stops appropriately or raise them if you need. Masked. Wow. Right to our trend line.
Unbelievable. The trend lines, man. They do so much lifting around here.
Fantastic stuff.
We've got a bro versus Manzier debate going, and any Seinfeld fan ought to love to hear that. Ryan, it looks like ALB wants to go to 200. Yeah, thank gosh. 13 was pounding the table at 90.
I think a little bit earlier than that, but yeah, I was talking about this one. I was talking about this one let's say 2024 maybe. But this is, it's because we had those lithium prices come way down globally, and then as soon as production over in China started to halt with their production, that's when we started to see a rise, and we were seeing expectations of a rise in lithium prices through 2026. So we're getting that, and now Albemarle also has a bromine angle as well. So like an Albemarle, certainly think it's going to be a $200 stock again. All right. What else do we have going on here that's looking good?
I haven't, there was a lot going on, so I definitely may have missed something here, but I didn't see anything terribly unusual with the options yet. I'll keep my eyes peeled on it, but I know we had a couple yesterday. I'm
waiting for that one last move here in SGML. Hopefully we get the volume for it. Volume's been waning, but we have been holding right here. We've got a bit of a bull pennant set up with this formation in SGML on the 5-minute chart, looking for that volume to come in and take us beyond 316.
Lion says the big gains are going to be in copper stocks.
Oh, they will. There will be big gains in copper stocks, especially if we're going to continue to build EVs and EV tolls and continue with electrification. I mean, we have a massive infrastructure, electrical grid build out that we need to do in the United States. Copper is going to be in demand for a very long time, and it's not going to get cheaper.
Thinking about it, giving us some AEHR news here. That wasn't on my radar. AEHR wins Shares are trading higher after the company announced an initial order from a global leader in the data center optical transceiver market. Wins new major silicon photonics customer with high power Fox XP wafer level burn-in system for hyperscale data center. Okay, so that definitely seems like good news here for AEHR. I know you've been on that one for a long time thinking about it. Think this has a chance to get back above 45 and make that run to 50?
You know, 2027 might be the year. I get the sense that we're probably going to see it start to go in the back half of this year. I think it's, you know, when we get this, not this upcoming meeting with Trump and Xi that's supposed to happen in May, but I think when we hit that 1 year mark for the truce, you know, the trade truce. When we hit that 1 year mark, I think that's when we're going to start to see copper and other metals really start to take off. All right, let's see here.
Can I repeat that, Webcoin? LOL. SPY getting our first little pullback here. Grats, Captain Claudia, and exiting those calls. That was really good. You did a much better job than I did holding on to those. Again, kind of conditioned to just sell pops and sold on that first pop. We got a nice little run there. 643 looks to be the spot that stopped it. See if we can hold above 640 now.
Mask now selling after hitting the trend line.
Almost like that trend line tells us what to do. Cool.
A little bit. SGML still trying to get past that 1316, but it's climbing a little bit higher over the last candle. There was one other one I was looking at. Where'd it go? UGRO still holding above VWAP, but having a hard time getting back up to 25. Kids, I think that might have been the other one I was looking for. Kids, so yeah, we did lose that trend line and the VWAP. It's coming down to some support. I think we lost the 360 support. We came down to the 340 area, got some support there. Not able to recapture the 360 level just yet. We're currently trying to get it right now. But this one looks like it's starting to weaken a bit. Volume's not as great as it used to be when we made that move through the trend line. So might still have a hard time getting back up and recapturing VWAP.
RKT here, that's Rocket. Looks like this is coming off, what, 1345. I know we talked about this being maybe a decent buy in the 12 handle. Didn't quite get there.
Yeah, and you know, I've seen some folks comment about how we're getting into the time of the year where you see a lot more home sales.
Yeah, this is the biggest time of the year for home sales.
Yeah, and with Rocket bottoming, it kind of makes it a little bit interesting. But I still feel like home buyers are under pressure. The whole affordability issue, the 10-year was climbing up recently, so that kind of puts pressure on mortgage rates. It looks like Rocket could turn around pretty soon, but we have not been able to do that just yet. I think for me, I want to see a recapture of the 20-day SMA. That's pretty much been riding it down ever since January 23rd, and we have not been able to recapture it since.
Okay.
All right. Back to some of these movers. Let's see what's
Look
good.
at NEO. NEO ripping here, up 4.3%, but just nothing but green candles here on the 5. No, Tuesday here. CEO William Lee sits down with Qualcomm China chair. Cars are the core engine of pushing AI forward. Let's see why he said that. I don't know if I agree. I want to see what his reasoning is before I just throw the baby out with the bathwater. The auto industry will become the core engine driving AI forward. Why did he say, that's just getting me to click on stuff. Meng described cars and robots as forms of physical AI, contrasting them with more static tools such as chatbots. He said that the shift from mobile internet to AI changes the user experience because instead of waiting for commands, AI systems can sense the surroundings, coordinate actions, and then make decisions in milliseconds. So he's saying this is like one of the first applications and where we see the AI in the computational world enter the physical world and do things on its own. Jay mentioning March 31st, we might see some pension rebalancing. We talked about maybe quarter end window dressing. We're also expecting inflows tomorrow for both the quarter and the month. I saw Nike appear on the scanner here. That reports earnings tonight, folks.
Well, that'll be interesting. SGML, we're still trying to get past that 1316 level, but we just tested it. So the T1 is on its way to T1000. Yeah, Jay, with how much NVIDIA has been selling, well, let me just, before I get into that comment, let me see where it's at right now. 167. So we haven't recovered the 171 area yet. Probably going to see some selling in NVIDIA if they're with the rebalance. I don't know. Maybe. I agree, though. We're going to see some rebalancing. Maybe we see some movement out of NVIDIA. I don't know. All right, let's see here.
Seeing some Nike calls get bought ahead of this. These are the monthly calls. Those look like $50 calls. So in the money calls here for April.
All right, so SGML now finally printing some new session highs going beyond that high of 1316, approaching some resistance from the pre-market. You're going to need to see some big volume here to get through the 1325 area. And if we do, probably see some resistance up around 1375. Hollow is also coming back. That's had a pretty nice morning after printing a low in the pre-market of 171. This is now at 197.
Look at Mask. Another trip through that trend line here. Wow is right. Wow is right, GP. Man, oh man, Mask, what a move. Great. Congrats to anyone that traded this one today. It's another winner here. And actually, SPY looking like it might try to bounce here. My indicator is sending more signals here. I don't know if I trust it, though. And I'll tell you what, I didn't trust it that first time, and it ended up going higher. Could y'all find a float on NPT? Let me give that a shot here for you. Did I get that right? NPT?
That's the text, right?
Yeah, but I don't get a ticker for it.
Yeah, just type in TEXX. I had to do it that way in order to bring up NPT.
There we go. Okay, so this, I wonder if this is a new issue here. Let me see.
The float is 3.5 million, and the outstanding shares is 22.18 million.
Okay, Anne-Marie. Good morning, Anne-Marie. Taking requests, my lovelies. Get your requests in now for Anne-Marie. And
SGML still climbing. This was a good one here with that formation that we had, that bull pennant. Climbing higher still, 1334. And as I mentioned earlier, this could still climb a little bit higher, but I think there's going to be some resistance around the 1375 area.
Really good call on some of these lithium names, particularly this one. Yesterday.
It was more about the pattern that it was showing here. It just had a bull pennant that looked like it was going to get the move out, but the volume was so low that I had some reservations. But here we are breaking out of it and going higher. So we're approaching 1350 now, but 1375 I think is where we really start to see the resistance.
Oil here down 0.5%. The VIX did dip below 30 here. We're at 27.5 on the VIX. Def want to hear from Anne-Marie about Marvell. Okay, so let me go ahead and take a note there, Brian, so my goldfish memory doesn't screw us here on this. MRVL
Brian.
What do you got?
No, just saying, Brian. Good call. Good call in asking her about that. Because, Kramer comes out hot and like, oh, I love Marvell. And everybody's like, oh, geez, I don't want to own this anymore. I want to see
Except
what
for Lion. Credit where credit is due.
Exactly.
Lion said stick with it.
Yep. All right. Okay, so Hollow still slightly climbing higher. SGML still slightly climbing higher. You grow kind of sideways now. And
Big Hurt, good job on your green day. Have a great one, boss. We'll catch you tomorrow.
Love to hear it, Big Hurt. Take care, man. Bitcoin recovering a little bit today here, but I still think we're going to see a lot of sideways price action for a time. We've been sideways for a little while now, since the beginning of February, I would say, when we finally when we put in our most recent low of 60,279. Been sideways ever since, and it kind of still looks like we could end up maybe putting in a slightly lower print at some point. But for now, I think we're still going to chop around sideways in Bitcoin and in the broader market.
Captain Cloudy, I love this. If SPY holds 640, I might buy some more calls again. I would say here for me, just kind of, especially with the 0 DTE ones, I don't know what you're going to do, but with the 0 DTE ones here, we're getting to the point in the day where you're basically just going to have that premium sucked out of them. The SPY chart right now looks like it is trying to curl and trade back higher. So if it sets some new highs, that trade will still work. But just something to consider here. Don't give up any of the gains that you have from theta decay.
Oh my gosh. Hollow over 2 now. SGML 1364 now the high. Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. I finally found a big options trade here. Unusual options trade. Trader buying 10,000 Bank of America 45 puts that expire in June. Trader spent 1.73 million on that. Now, unfortunately, I don't know if that's a buy or a sell, but with that being slightly out of the money here, that looks to me like a buy. Let me see if I can have my broker give me any other information about that to narrow it down.
It's kind of funny that happens now because we are on the verge of a death cross with Bank of America.
Yep, and 13, this is not part of a spread. This, according to my broker, this looks like this was a buy. So now you're talking about the death cross on there. Part of me wonders if this trader sees Bank of America going lower.
I think that's what I'm getting from this as well. Would they say 45 puts? That's not too far away from here. That's just slightly underneath the 500-day SMA, but that also represents a bit of a shelf. That was on our way up here since Liberation Day. When we broke through 45, we back tested that twice as support before going higher. Now we're going to test it as support coming down. I could see this, maybe getting support for several sessions or so, but it seems like if we don't get some good news or something that turns the financials around, this is probably going to go under 45.
Izzy telling you about hymns. I don't know why he's not tagging me on that, but nonetheless, I picked it up here. Kennedy, heeding Kennedy's wishes, the FDA is expected to lift restrictions on peptides. That's from a New York Times article. Hymns already higher here by just about 2%. This one, it's interesting movement here today. I don't know if I trust this, to be quite honest with you, especially after listening to the most recent Brigham Bueller podcast on Rogan. He's not a big fan of this whole thing, but that headline there, that should be pretty good for hymns. You have any levels for this 13?
25. That's the level I've got marked off here. There's going to be some resistance in the 24 area just beneath that, though it's probably going to be like maybe 24.10 or 24.15, something like that. Okay. But it looks like that prior to the past week where we were seeing a lot of selling, this was on the verge of silver crossing. And we've kind of filled a gap to the downside. I don't know if we're going to completely reverse or not. I want to see, this is what I would want to see. I want to see the 50-day SMA get recaptured, and I want to see 3 days we close above it. Doesn't matter where the price is. I just want to see 3 days we close above the 50-day SMA. I think that would give a little bit more confidence. And you know what? Hold on. Because we've already had that happen once, and we still went lower. It might have to be 25. We need to get above 25.
Huge call buyer hymns, over $500,000. Was that today? My algo here didn't pick that up. Those were the $20 calls. Was that today, Izzy, or was that yesterday? I don't have that picked up here. Part of me wonders why.
We're going to need to recapture the 50-day SMA. We need to recapture 25. I don't really know that I can really give a good opinion on this one, because the news is just, so back and forth when it comes to this. But, looking at this from, a perspective of how much it's come down off the highs, it might be a buy, but I just don't know how great the company is financially. Let's see here. What does this do? It's still profitable. I don't know. Maybe this is a short squeeze play. It doesn't have the days to cover, but it's got the short interest. So that might be the biggest thing that has going for it, I would say.
I mean, given the news, if that is a new call buy here today, I mean, I get it. Given that news, that would look like a positive catalyst, especially on the surface there. So I could see traders going after that.
But yeah, I'm not exactly sure what I need to see in order for me to feel comfortable about this. But I think there's better things to trade. But if this is something that you like, 25, it looks like a big level to get past, as well as 28. If we start recapturing both of those two levels, then maybe we're back in business here.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, there's only 7 minutes left in our segment here. This flew by today, 13. Flew by.
Time flies when you're having fun, and this was a fun day.
Does.
It was a fun day, and we made some money, had some nice price action around these trend lines. Let me see if I can find some things. I mean, Hollow is still going higher. SGML, here we are up at the 1375 area. We printed 1374, and we might be getting a little bit of resistance here. So this is, for me, if would be where I'd say thank you for the breakout trade of that bull pennant, and I'd be done, because we're approaching that time when volume starts to go away from the market. There's some sellers in the way to the north, and doesn't look like it looks like it's a little thin here, so we might get some selling, and we started pulling now.
Yep. Really good call in real time there, 13 here. One up for 13, who's just out here.
Just casually talking about where's this going.
Just making calls that are hitting the trend lines, man. That's my favorite part of the whole day, it seems. HIMS, by the way, looking like that might make a move here for 20 today. Bitcoin still at the highs. VIX new lows. That continues to melt. Tesla at the highs. Whoever was trading Tesla earlier, that's new highs here. Ondas, new highs. Let's go.
So waiting for that SpaceX Flight 12. Still not sure what the timeline is going to be with that. It might be in the back half of April now, because typically what you're going to get is a static test fire with all the engines, and that hasn't happened yet. And then typically after that happens, you'll see it's generally 2 weeks after that static test fire do we see the launch occur. But still need the flight license, still need the not Mars and NOTAMs filing. To let the aircraft and marine vessels know that there's a building flying in the sky. Regarding UMAC, do you know if White Diamond Research is a reputable firm? I'm not familiar with White Diamond.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that either. That seems like a great prompt for an AI tool, actually. Have it look across reviews.
Ugro might be going. Sorry to interrupt you, but
no, you're
there's
fine.
A little trend line here that we've been forming with this price action we're getting this morning. We're trying to break through the trend line. Just be careful with Ugro, because this one has got that large spread. So we could certainly move past the highs of the regular session and just come right back in real quick. The float is very, very low on this. Let me just double check and give you the correct reading on this. My broker says it's like 663,000. The float I have is 675,000. So pretty close, very, very small name. So just be careful with this one.
Reggie says, I'm waiting for any late day dips. The overnight hold doesn't bother me tomorrow, fellas. Reggie, take care of yourself, man.
Take care.
Good stuff here so far today. We'll be back at this again tomorrow.
NVIDIA 170. So it's still climbing. Still climbing up. Looks like Kids is trying to curl back up towards the VWAP. I see a lot more sellers above the price now than I did before. So I'm a little bit concerned about this actually getting up there. But it is getting some support from the some pre-market levels around 340. Looks like Redwire is trying to break over 815.
Are you anticipating anything with the space stocks as a theme with the Artemis launch tomorrow?
There could be. I think what could be a bigger driver is going to be the Starship launch, but
Okay.
I think that we could see some movement in some of the space names from the Artemis launch, because they're both. There goes Ugro. Jeez. So I certainly think that there could be some things we want to keep an eye on. And you could even do a search like what companies are involved in building the SLS, or and see what components are used, and maybe those names get a little bit of a move when we have the launch. Just an idea, but that's what I'd be looking at here with the Artemis launch. And I can't say for sure if that's going to be the big driver of the space names. I think it's going to be more about the Starship test flight. But that's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
Lion says, guys, get ready to short oil soon. Lion, are you shorting?
Whoa!
Are you shorting the actual commodity? Are you shorting oil individual names like ExxonMobil, Chevron, Conoco? What's your target for that oil short? Are you just using an ETF like USO?
Well, there goes Ugro.
It's going.
It did the thing. It did more than what I was expecting.
It just busted out of this bull flag, it looks like.
Well, I was concerned about it because it's so thin, and I still maintain that this could be one of those things that gets pulled down just as quickly as it goes up. We did have resistance at $29. We hit a high just now of $27.74. There could be some more upside, but just be careful of this thing, pulling really quickly. Maybe if you have your stops already, maybe a good idea to raise them.
Tiny pie. Yeah, you can tune in for me to make a fool of myself too when I accidentally stumble over a word in a very unfortunate setting. It would seem.
That was the best mistake I've heard in a while. I love it.
Okay, SCO, that would be a way to play oil short. Lion says he's going to be shorting USO and individual names as well. Lion, keep us posted on your trades. 13, we got less than a minute here. Any closing words for the group?
Oh, folks, thank you for making this a memorable morning. We just had a new theme birthed from that mistake. I love it, guys.
Also, don't forget, we got Kramer's new nickname is now Creamer.
Creamer.
So we got that going for us too.
Creamer and sharding on a Tuesday morning. Folks, have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. Have fun with Anne-Marie. She's taking requests, so make sure you got them locked and loaded. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.
All right, 13, take care. Really good stuff. Let's go ahead and bring on Anne-Marie. Hopefully she can help me bring this out of the gutter here. Anne-Marie, thank you for joining us. I'm sorry for setting you up like that.
Well, between off of your channel and getting on this one, I missed all the fun.
Oh, okay. Well, then we're doing good. Anne-Marie, it's great to see you. Happy Tuesday. It looks like we're getting a little bit of a relief rally here, and it's got everyone feeling good. Look, I want to hear what you have for trading ideas. We got one suggestion here on Marvell already, if you heard that. But I want to get your opinion real quick, because one of the things that I floated earlier is that this relief rally may end up bouncing us back to the 200, only to result in a rollover and then maybe some new lows. And one of the reasons that I'm kind of suspicious is because we got within 1 point of the actual 10% pullback level. So we actually got like 9.9% pullback, not quite 10%. I had a great stat from Steve Burns this morning that midterm years, there's always a pullback. It ranges between 7 and 41%. And every time it's fine later on in the year. So I just want to get your opinion on where we're at with the broader market.
I could not be in greater accord. Absolutely. You are absolutely spot on. I believe that's what seasonality is telling us. I believe everything that we're staring down right there is just, just spot on. Absolutely spot on what you're saying.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
All right, so that's what we'll watch for here. We'll see what we end up getting.
All right. Okay, so let's oh, you got my stuff. So let's take a look at Marvell. So this one's got some pretty good seasonality attached to it. But like we talked about just 2 seconds ago, we're looking at spikes up that come back, that pull back, that come back. So I believe that we've got a big sideways patch coming. Now, it's super interesting that you said, hey, watch the 200, because F. Sheen and I did a statistical study with like 60 different indicators. And guess what the most statistically significant indicator was?
The 200-day moving average?
Absolutely. On any time frame.
I'm not. Oh, okay. So the on any time frame part surprises me, Anne Marie, but the rest of it, unsurprised.
Yeah, pretty amazing in my mind. And so if we stare this down, we've got Marvell looking pretty good. I'm not for positive what the trader is staring down, but I will say this. It spent, what is that, 2-3 weeks inside of the earnings candle formation, pulled back, held the midline event, and then broke straight out today. This is a huge gap up for Marvell. I mean, we're looking at a close down here and an open way up here. And so that is a pretty big spike. What do you want to do with that? Well, in a sideways pressure event, like we're sitting right here, I think this is going to have to do with what the broad market's doing, and that is lifting. So Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan put out a note to their clients that commodity technical advisors were the most short they've been since before March of last year, where we had that massive dip. They are now $36 billion negative, and they don't stay there very often. So there's an unwind that's moving positive in that structure. They're going to be forced buyers in the coming weeks. First thing. Second thing is there is a massive desire to bring down the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
And the dollar and the indices are very closely linked right now. Very, very closely linked. Dollar down, index up. Dollar up, index down. Very close. Even more closely related than oil at this juncture.
Okay.
Yes. So we anticipate this fade, just like you're saying. We anticipate a ride up. So where does that put us for Marvell? You know, the open-ended question is always hard for me to answer. Tell me what you think about Marvell. What do you mean? For a week, for a month, for 3 weeks, for 3 months? What are we saying?
Okay.
So go ahead.
I was going to say, let me answer here. Do you have a daily chart? Yeah, it's that one on the left is your daily chart, right? I think.
This one in the middle is the daily chart.
Excuse me, that one in the middle. Okay, so I think there's two things here that are of note. Number one, it does look like we're kind of trading up to a more near-term resistance that also happens to be the round 100 number. So I would be interested in perhaps a short swing with the intention of testing 100 and maybe breaking above it. But long-term, we're also talking about this from a long-term basis because this is going to be an AI player. And I think one of the things that we're wondering here is this going to be classified as one of the AI winners? So I'll be honest, I like this. I would be curious about this both for the short term, for kind of like a quick strike trade, but I'm also interested in owning this long term.
Okay, so from a long-term perspective, here's what the broad market is telling us. We have very difficult price action between now and October. It's going to be up, it's going to be down, there are going to be tears, there are going to be smiles, all over the place. Okay. So if you say, hey, let's look at the next up cycle and let's give it until the end of April, how can we get a formation on the cheap? And so that will be taking a look at, oh, that's perfect. MRVL. Taking a look at potentially, ooh, look at that, 95 to 100. If you just went, hey, I'm buying the spread, it's $2.03, right? So it's more than a 2 to 1 on the, well, 1.5, 150% return thereabouts from that sort of play. If you want to do a butterfly, also very nice. You can do the 95 to, if you want to give it a little bit of room because you think it's going to run, you could go to 105. I think sticking at 100 is probably the better bet. And that is 82 cents for $100 to the upside. If you are thinking, hey, things are probably going to be a little bit noisy, what if I try to take a look at where the floor of support is, which I would think would be around this low near 85, and see if I can get any kind of premium in that space. Or if you're saying, hey, look at that, 10,000 of them in open interest. So this, my friends, could be a collar or a strangle. Here's what we're looking at. If it's a collar, it's going to be a protective 85, meaning they're going to buy this put and buy the call. It's 10,000 of them here, 10,000 of them there. I'm going to guess they put on a position somewhere there.
Okay.
If it's a strangle, it could be the long 95 and using the short 85 to pay for some of it. That's also synthetic long, what they could be doing. So that gives them a little room to the upside. They're paying a lot less than if they just went and bought it outright, right? They're paying about 25% less. So from that perspective, I believe those two guys are related. Sort of like what you were talking about for that great big Bank of America. That could be a protective collar because it could be a long put, but they're selling calls way out of the money to pay for the protection of having that long put. And so that protective collar gives them a little bit of room to move around. So we'd have to check out the chains to do that.
Okay,
So
that's why we bring you on here, Anne-Marie, because I would not have been able to figure that one out on my own. So great insight there on that unusual option buy.
Yeah. So whenever you see that, always go to the other side to see if you can see anything matching.
Okay.
There are a lot
Good
of
tip.
ways to hedge. Yeah. Okay. So you could just sell the 85 outright because you go, you know what? If I get 100 shares of these at $85, I mean, that's a great discount. I'm actually getting it around 83 and some change, and I like this for the long term. I'll be able to sell calls against it. That's a great way to do that. If you're just looking for something to help you pay for your $82 spread, you can go 80 to 85, and it'll give you 75 cents of it. You could also turn that into an iron condor by selling that. Well, if you bought, you wouldn't be able to do that, but you could sell the 106 to 110 and it'd give you $1.30, which is good enough for that kind of range. So you'll be in great shape for both of those. That's certainly what I would do with Marvell. If you're thinking about, hey, this thing is going to the moon, what you need to do is give yourself time, go into January. Let's see if anybody's positioned there yet.
And it's funny that you're bringing this up, Anne-Marie, because Lion from our chat here, who has been pounding the table on Marvell being a great company all morning post this news, says December 110 calls will be very rewarding. So he's thinking something similar, although not the exact same expiry month.
Yeah. So let's see December. My thought would be the shakeout after the beginning of the new year, depending on how December goes. But I like December or January. You just need time. Time is going to be your friend.
Okay.
Now, I am not a big fan of buying calls outright. I just don't like doing it. Does it end up capping me? Yes, sure enough. If you just bought this call outright, the price would have to be above $125 before you even broke even. So why not position a butterfly and say 110 to 130 to 150? Well, what did I just do there? To 150. And it's $2.25, meaning your break even goes from $125 to $112. And so it gives you a lot of traction. Now, if it ends up going to 200, then, you're going to have to adjust that spread. But you can look at it over time. I love butterflies at the very beginning of a move, because here's the beauty. If this chart fades, those 130s are going to collapse in value. If your proposition is that 110 is really the great number to look at, you can buy those 130s back and sell the 140s. And what that allows you is a wider spread on top for a much cheaper price. And if it blows out the other side, now that you have $30 up above you and only $10 below you, you're going to be capturing at least a minimum of $2,000 of premium.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome rundown on Marvell.
All right. What's next?
That's a good question here. Does anyone have anything else? I'll throw it out to the group here. If anyone has anything that you want to cover. But is there anything in the oil field that you'd like to take a look at? We were talking earlier about possibly shorting oil. And I know I don't like to just short outright. So USO might be something that I take a look at there. Maybe there's an option play there. SCO, which is the inverse ETF. I don't know if there's something there. We were discussing both of those earlier. Broadcom would be another suggestion as well, by the way.
We'll do Broadcom, and we'll do my favorite energy play because it's statistically significantly long. So let me tell you a little storyboard about energy. Oil is not going back to the floor. It simply is not. We are not going to see $50, $60, $70 oil in. It doesn't matter what gets resolved. We have so much global disruption. It's not going back. It simply is not going back. Now, we are energy independent, and so we'll have export opportunities. And so what that export opportunity is going to do is build revenue opportunities for the strongest in the space. Devon Energy statistically into May has 9 out of the 10 last years. Between those months, this thing has moved straight up. And so you can see it on the daily chart and on the weekly chart in terms of seasonality. Dips are to be bought. So it's coming counter to your thought about what should actually happen with energy. Now, here's the flip side. Of course, since energy's run up the rails like a scalded dog, what we have to expect is that it's going to have some kind of fade. But that fade is very potentially a new buy zone. So here are 2 ways to trade that. All right. First off, oh, wow. I got to cover those. All right. So, yeah, forgot that was it. First off, let's go to May. And let's think about this. It's going to be sideways. So if it's going to be sideways, it's going to be messy. You're going to have to look at where the traders have positioned, and can you have a butterfly formation that potentially gives you a stretch into a place that you would like. All right, so let's go back and look at the top of the range. The 400 range expansion, the 4x on the Fibonacci here looks like 55. Upward flow puts it closer to 58. So I believe the 55.60 is going to be very nice for a regular trade, right? If you say, hey, listen, I just want to do it, this will give you 4-to-1, $1.09 upside pressure. Gives you a little bit of room. If the price action fades a little bit, your 60 might drop to 20 cents. That out of the money call might be worth 20 cents. You could pull it off completely. If Devon goes up to 60, then you've got monster upside, goes up to 65. You could also do the butterfly, and that's 65 cents. That one to me gives you a nice base. Now, number one, as it gets closer to May, that 60 is going to have a 62.50 strike that's going to pop down in between there. And so if price pulls in significantly, which it could, but if price pulls in significantly, you could pull that 60 off, sell the 62.50 on the bounce, and you've got yourself much more upside overall. Now, if you're saying to yourself, I just can't buy into this fact that energy is going to stay up, USO is probably one that's going to come in a little bit if it does come in. Now, here's why. One, it is gappy as all get out, tremendously gappy, so it's going to have more volatility on the edge of it. Secondly, it's an ETF, and if the price action during the summer actually unfolds the way it normally unfolds during midterm elections, ETF flows are going to pull out. They're absolutely going to pull out. So what do you want to look for? You want to look for potentially a retest between 120 and 105, potentially, maybe even 100. So if you're looking at that, I would say give it a hot minute. Don't go to May. Go all the way to July and structure it that way. I don't see anybody really. I see a lot of them way up here, but that might be because it just started running faster than they thought it would. So if you went 120, wow, that vol is huge. So if you said 120 to 105 to 15, so what would that be? 90. 214, $1,500 potential upside at the cost of $214. You could also turn this into a 1x3x2, and that would also be really cheap. So let's see how much the 1x3x2 costs. Instead, let's use 120 to 100, and we're going to do 3. And the 2 we're going to do are going to be at 90. Oh, you know what? That's not going to be any cheaper. Yeah, that is not going to be any cheaper. So there's a lot of volatility packed in at these darker numbers down here. I would say the 120, 105, 90. You know, if you want to collect some premium from that, I would say 150 looks pretty good, but I am not sure about betting against the price of oil simply because of the global disruption that we are sitting in the midst of.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so and thank you for breaking down DVN. I know that's owned here amongst some of the audience. Broadcom would definitely one, but Chicago Realtor here, and I am actually embarrassed. Chicago Realtor. I'm sorry, I didn't think of this on my own. Nike. We have Nike earnings today, and actually we had Nike trading up into those earnings earlier today. So maybe we can do those two, Broadcom and Nike.
All right, let's do Broadcom first.
Perfect.
Yes, and I'll go quickly so we can get ourselves the right time event. Okay, so Broadcom, that's a pretty good buy spot it popped off of right there. It's under the 200 on the day. Let's see where it is with respect to the 1 hour chart. Under the 1 hour chart. So we've got a bounce play potentially into the pivot for Broadcom on the rise up if price action actually holds. If it holds, we've got the central pivot to the upside. Does it look like it's breaking trend? To me, it does, but I suck at drawing trend lines. But we know this. It does look like it. So it does look like pullbacks are very likely to give us buying formations, right? So what can we do there? If we have dips or buys and we want to get into, let's go back to a daily and see what it gives us. Let's see where the last earnings event was. All the way up here. 323 might be a nice area to look at with a 315 as a potential stop. 315 is a potential breakout area. So it'd be out of the money. We'd use May because we're going to have chop. So we maybe do 310, 330, 350. That's 288. If you want to collect some premium, last pivot, 280 looks like the floor for right now. So 280, 270, and then you might want to choose 360 to 370. That's 373. That's well over the $2 that we expect for a $1,000 spread. And it pays for your butterfly. The great thing is with this kind of trade, both of these can win. Because you're looking at, okay, let's just say it chops around in this big fat range, but let's say it chops around and grinds higher. Mm-hmm. That's what we're staring down. And you're going to make the $373 less the $288 you have to pay. So let's say that's $100 plus your $2,000 that you make on the upside if it goes right into 330. I think it looks great. I think that looks really, really good. That would be my thought about what Broadcom is doing. And seasonality has it a little choppy, but the grind to the north, it looks like that's what they're trying to do. Okay, great. Let's do Nike. NKE. All right. Let's clear the drawing set here. And then let's have a look. Wow, that's pretty sideways in terms of earnings. Momentum still looks pretty crummy. But what could we do? Let's see. Let me widen this one very quickly here. Let's see the last place this chart had some trouble. Oh, look at that. We've got, holy smokes, guys. This thing has not been this price since 2016. Yeah, and I think that's why people are asking about it. Yeah, Plus it's 50 bucks. That's pretty good. So let's estimate, let's do one side of this and let's give it time. Let's assume that we get into 57, which is the old earnings event. Let's assume that's where our target is going to give us over the next range of motion that we've got. So 57. Couple of ways to trade that. Again, I'd suggest May. You could do 52.50. The closer you are to being at the money, the more statistically reliable your trade becomes. So if you're saying that you're trading with trend, 52.50, $5, it's going to cost $1.83. Let's say you're thinking to yourself, wait, I believe that 55.60 might be the better run for me. It's also cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
And if you did 55.60 and went to 62.50, so you could at least get $250 if it happens to, run to the moon instead of choking around 60, you get this butterfly that, of course, is no risk and absolute reward is going to be from that space. You could also say, wait a second, this is the cheapest Nike has been in forever.
Yeah.
I'm selling some of the 47.50s, and if it comes back to get me, put me to it. I'll buy that for 46 bucks and hang on to it because it's been a good name. So that's also a choice for yourself, truly. If you wanted to bound it and not give yourself a risk event, you could easily do the short put spread and give yourself 99 bucks.
Okay.
Credit.
Okay. Really good stuff there. Anne-Marie, thank you. I know kind of a whirlwind, got a lot to cover there. You hit it all, though. You do as you always do here. Just a reminder, with Good Friday coming up this week, no show this week. And then looking ahead here, if you're available on Tuesday, we will have a show on Tuesday, but I will be at the office and on PTO on Friday.
Okay.
So nothing this Friday. We'll see you again Tuesday, and we'll go from there.
All right. Take care.
All right. Anne-Marie, take care. Thank you for everything as always. And remember, folks, Anne-Marie has her own chat room in Benzinga Pro where you not only get trades just like this, but you also get her market commentary and, frankly, her guidance and help on a lot of this stuff as well. She does a tremendous amount for our community here. Smash up the like for her. Be sure to check out Benzinga Pro. Folks, we're all done here for today. This was a great Tuesday. Tons of guests, tons of stuff going on. We're going to be back at this again tomorrow. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. We'll catch up with you.